let me tell you this story about this fucking bird. Okay. So, first of all, Joe and Chris are both on assignment this week. I got Dante the Destroyer.
What's up?
And I got Stay at Home Greg.
All right.
And thank you guys for coming out, by the way, because I needed the help, as it turned out, for sure.
Yes, sir.
So, I got my wife countertops, new countertops for Mother's Day. There's like very few things that she doesn't want. She doesn't like ask for shit or any of that. She's not like that type of person, but I know that she's always wanted her entire life nice countertops and a new couch. Because I think I said this on here before, but like she grew up like a working class family, but like they lived check to check, you know. And her father like busted his ass and was like super skilled dude, like a carpenter. That, you know what I mean? Like he made furniture, but like not like you know, like shit with like lion's paws on the end of that shit. You know? So he would make their furniture, like, but he had to just use like kind of like leftover scraps from like jobs and shit. So like she would have all this like pieced together furniture her whole life. So like she always wanted like a fresh new couch and countertops. So I got her the couch and then I got her the countertops, right? And she deserves far more. But when you put in the countertops, you got to take everything out of the cabinets. Everything's got to go, right, for them to install it, which seems a little excessive to me. But so it's all over, like it's all out of my kitchen. It's over my dining room and like over my like library, we call it. It's like a little sitting room. And I start noticing this smell. And I don't say anything about it because I'm like, man, we just shifted a whole bunch of shit around. Something got disturbed. You know what I mean? Something's going on. It'll get, you know what I mean? Maybe that she found some muck or something in the back of a, you know, like a liquor bottle was leaking or something, you know what I mean? And, you know, who knows? Couple days go by, counters get installed. But we didn't put the shit back into the counters because she actually like, she wanted to get like this liner for all the cabinets and shit that's blue because the whole thing is like blue and white. So like it all matches, looks slick. But, so anyway, I was like, okay, well, shit's still out. I still notice the smell here and there, right? So I finally said something to her. I was like, do you notice the smell? And she's like, it's driving me fucking insane. She's like, I've been going around sniffing everything. And, you know, they had to move the sink. So I was like, you know, sometimes there's nasty shit in the sink, especially in the catch, you know. And so, you know, we let a day or two go by, still around. And, like, it's arguably getting worse. So, like, I was like, what the fuck? So, like, we're trying to find everything. Or we're wiping everything down, cleaning, you know what I mean? Like, just going insane trying to find it. And she's like, it's got to be a dead animal in the fucking vents. And we do have birds that always try to get into our vents. Mainly, like, our bathroom vent that runs out the first floor onto the side of my house. So, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't hear, usually with animals and shit, you hear them. And sometimes I hear birds, but, like, I've never been alarmed, but I was like, you know, maybe. So, anyway, it's getting worse. And what I did was I was like, well, look, let's shut the door to the bathroom and seal it up and then let it sit for a few hours and then open it and see if it's like, okay. And then like, it was obviously coming from there. So I was like, okay, so it's coming from this room. So it's probably the vent. So now we got company coming next week. You know, a lot of fucking company. And like, I don't want to have the stinky house. Do you know what I'm saying? Yep. I don't want the stinky house anyway, but the timing couldn't be worse.
Right.
So like we're trying to find, she calls around to a bunch of people. I start looking at like emergency numbers because that's usually where I find like, you know what I mean? Like people that want to get out and get it done. So I find this company. They come out yesterday and they drop a peppermint bomb, they call it, in the vent, and that kills all the bacteria and some other shit. And then they didn't have the right tools, so they were going to come back today and clean out the vent. Now, this whole fucking operation costs like $500. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at like the tools. I'm like, I probably could have bought that for under $100 and fucking did it myself. Yeah. But I'm freaking out because I want this fucking situation sorted, you know? So anyway, I go out there. You guys start showing up this morning, and I see that I didn't even realize they were here. They didn't say anything to me. So I see that there are trucks out there. So I come out just to say what's up and how's it going. And then he's like, look, there's no animal in there. They went in there yesterday and they found a nest, like with the camera. They found a nest. So we were like, okay, there's probably a dead animal in there, or, you know. So they pulled out the nest and shit. There's no fucking dead animal in it. And the bag didn't smell like it to me, like the problem. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I go out there and I'm like, well, I want this fucking situation sorted. So they went in and took out, they just went in and took out my fan to the bathroom and like ran a vacuum through the pipe that way. But they still didn't get anything out of it, you know? So like, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So like now I don't know what I'm going to do because I already wasted a day now. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm going to wait and see if it was just the nest and something was decomposing in it. But it doesn't feel right to me. It feels like the situation's not been solved. And
they say with no eggs or nothing like that. Damn.
So I don't know what the fuck is going on. So, I mean, I'll just play it by ear, I guess. That's nothing I can do, you know, like, but I'm out. But they said I can call and get a half a discount or whatever. So we'll see. But, yeah, I'm like freaking out because I'm like, I don't want all these fucking people come to my house and be like, yo, this house smells like dog shit.
Right. And then you have to explain it to like the first 5 people. And then after a while, you're like, you know what, fuck it.
Like new countertops, you got a new house.
Right.
So I don't know. It's definitely coming from the bathroom. Like I don't smell it coming out of the sink, you know, and I don't smell it around the toilet at all. And the only thing left in there is that fucking vent. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they're saying, like, well, there's nothing here. It's like, well, obviously there's something
somewhere.
There's something going on. You got to figure it out.
I ain't tripping. I smell it.
Yeah, and they do too. Like when the guy just walked in, I don't know if you guys smelled it at all, but when the guy walked into the bathroom, he like it hit him. Like he was like, oh, like, like there's something going on, you know. But it's just like, man, like what the fuck, you know. I'm on like, and the pipe isn't just a straight pipe. That's another thing I was like kind of irritated about because like I would just run a hose, you know. I would just stick a hose and just run the fucking hose through there, like, you know, and catch a bucket on the other side, and you know. When's
the last time you had the whole house, you know, the vents blown for stuff?
Never.
Yeah, we did when we moved into our house. That was like the first thing we did. Like had them flush the vents of all the, you know, because my daughter, she's asthmatic. Well, I am too, but she's got it worse. So we flushed the vents out. You know, got somebody in here, blew all that stuff out of the house. So
yeah. I mean, I'll look at it, but it smells like decay. You know, like, and it's not a duct in there. Do you know what I mean? It's a. And like we don't smell it upstairs. We don't smell. I don't smell it down here. It's just on that first floor. And that vent, it just runs. You know, it's a shit vent. Like it's, you know, the fart fan as they call it. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But Dante, I haven't seen you in forever, man. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
I mean, I know it's been like just February or something, but it just feels like
it feels longer.
So what's been going on with you recently?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, podcasting, obviously. That's going a lot better. A lot of moving parts, but I feel confident with it. Just every day there's someone new to record with. So it's like, okay. So I'm doing that. The horror podcast, I just had Joe and Phil on recently.
Yeah, he had mentioned something about it.
We reviewed a movie called Older Gods. I guess they were shopping it out to get reviews from people. Somehow they stumbled on me. I was like, hey, you mind doing a review for us? And I was like, all right.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it's a cool.
No, it is cool, but it was one of those things where I was like, oh, have you listened to any of my podcasts? So, and the thing is, this was in November, and like just timing messed because I wanted to do it with Joe and Phil. It's like it had to be them two, and just timing didn't work out. We finally got to it, and I mean, we did what we do. You know, we had fun. You know, we fucking talking about almost anything but the movie.
Right.
We got back to the movie. Though.
Right. And
then the producer reached out and was like, hey, would you like to have the director on for an interview? I was like, well, I don't do interviews because I'm not good at that, but I'll have him on for a conversation. She goes, oh, well, you know what? He prefer that anyway. He doesn't like interviews. I was like, that's perfect because I don't like doing interviews.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So then like the episode comes out and I tagged them and I let them know, hey, the episode's out. It's ready. And I kept saying to Joe and Phil, was like, yeah, they're going to listen to it. That shouldn't be like fuck that guy. He likes Christina Aguilera too much. Way
Is that
too
what
much.
you were talking about?
Like,
She can sing.
oh yeah.
Is she, but you're into her on a different level.
Oh, yeah. After she had those babies, it was like, oh my god, like sing that Mulan song to me, girl. But
It ties into your mother issues, I'm sure.
of course, that's coming up in a second too. But I kept joking with them, saying, "Dude, they're gonna listen to this shit and not want to record." And I was supposed to record last Sunday, Mother's Day of all days. And I was like, "Watch, these motherfuckers are gonna back out." So sure enough, that morning, they're in London.
Okay. Wait.
I get a message from the producer, "Hey, an emergency came up, blah blah blah." So I was like, "Okay, that's cool." They probably listened. I was like, "Look, this guy, like,
Lunatic.
Don't let David sit down with this guy. This fucking guy's a fucking nutcase." So
Right.
I was like, "Well, look," they're like, "We can reschedule." I was like, "I can do it, Tuesday. I have open, slot there. After that though, I probably can't get anything until June."
Mm-hmm.
So didn't hear back from them. Didn't hear back. Like they messaged me yesterday. I was like, okay, we can, we're, everything's good now. So I was like, oh, okay. Because I was prepared to rip into him on the next episode.
Oh, really?
Just to be like, oh, okay, fuck you. Fuck your movie. Because
Damn.
we gave a good review to the movie.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's a slow burn. And the first watch, for sure, I was like, After the second watch, I was
No
like,
wonder they're giving this shit away.
the second watch, I was like, okay, all right, I get it now, and I'm comfortable with it. I feel good about it, and we spoke highly of it. But it was like, as soon as it felt like they're going to back out of this interview, I was like, you know what? Fuck your movie. Fuck that guy. Fuck England. Just ripping into all of it. But then they messaged back, and I was like, all right, never mind. Let me go ahead and message John. Like, hey, we're not going to do that episode now, dude. Like, it's okay.
Wow.
We'll record something else. So just the stuff with the podcast, the horror podcast specifically, is going well.
Good.
My mom came to visit. It was
Really?
Mother's Day.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's on some grim shit though.
Okay.
She's
I'm all ears.
She's riddled with tumors.
Really? I'm
she's
sorry.
got thyroid cancer, stage 3, I believe. Which thyroid cancer is one that you can kind of come back from that. Like you're not bad at all.
Yeah. Agreed.
But it's still like jarring to hear. Like,
yeah, sure.
It's also it's kind of that weird thing because it's my mom.
They
So
say it's like the one to get.
it's like, hey,
You had one choice of cancer. Yeah, give me that thyroid one.
like there's one that you're gonna go out and catch.
yeah.
But it's my mom, so like she'll say things, and it's just like, okay, whatever, sure,
Right.
But she called on Sophie's birthday, and we talked for a moment, and she had mentioned, hey, I'm going to be down there to visit this weekend, and for the first time that I could recall, I could hear fear in her voice. Like she was basically like, look, I got to come down there. I got to see, I got to see my mom. I want to see you guys. Like, I just don't know what's going to happen. And it got, I have my, like, feelings towards her for better or for worse.
Probably for worse.
For sure for worse. and I try to make an effort when I can, kind of get past some of the stuff. But
What do you call your mom?
I'll just call her mom.
Mom.
If I don't even think, I can't recall, like, really.
Mine's always like I guess I was mommy when I was a kid, but my mom is ma.
Yeah, it's
When
mom.
you got more mature, right? You're like, mommy is so adolescent.
But,
Like,
but yeah,
Ma.
but I think I went to ma. Like I went from mommy to ma. I don't know if I ever went to mom.
I went just like you. I went from mommy, and then I was like, wait a minute, I'm like grown up. Well, not a grown up, but I'm older.
Yeah.
Ma, and she used to get mad. Who the fuck is Ma? You.
And I think it's because her side of the family, I'd always hear people call their mothers ma. Like my grandma would hear my uncles call it ma, and I think I just picked it up from there. It's just a weird thing. My kid's getting too old. My oldest to call us mommy and daddy, but she still does, and but she still says like I'm. Every time she says it, she's like, "That was the last one. That was the last one." Yeah.
Well, like I call my grandmommy. That's just
Do you really?
always been grandmommy. But yeah, like ma, like if I'm I say mom like to you guys, but it's like when I'm talking to her, it's ma. And if I ever address her with anything, because it's very rare that I even say it anyway. So, like, one of my brothers, I think he just calls her Ruthie. I was like, dude, chill. Like, I don't even go that far. Like, fucking chill, son. But, she came up, visited, and it was relatively pleasant.
That's good, man.
It
Where did she stay?
When she was here?
Yeah.
At my grandma.
Okay.
There are little things I started just kind of getting triggered by again. Just, I don't like observational. Like, I love observational comedy. That shit's great because it's on the spot. But I don't like observational conversation. Like if I yawn, you're like, "Oh, you tired?" Like, well, the fuck, I just yawned. Like, fuck you think? Like, it's like, I'm like rummaging for food. Oh, you hungry?
Yeah.
Fucking school paper. Get the fuck out of my business, yo. But she does that. Like, she'll like point something out in an insulting way, like trying to cut at you. And she was doing it, over the weekend, and it was just kind of like, you know what? I had a moment where I felt like I cared, and right now you're making me not care. She was real cool with Sophie though. She and I appreciate that, but that's that thing where it's like, you weren't really the best of parent, but why are you being nice to the kid?
I think my mom would have been a kick-ass grandparent too, and she was an awful, awful mother.
Yeah,
but I also like my mom's super passive aggressive now because like she can't beat us anymore. So like she says little slick shit. And my brother Ben is a mopper as well, and I don't think he has the same reputation that I have in mopping, but he did get promoted, and she like, I didn't hear from her. I haven't heard from her, but she made a point to reach out and let me know that Ben's been promoted. Ben is a promoted mopper. Just in case you didn't know, he's promoted. Yeah. How are you doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, bitch, I don't want to be promoted.
Right. Yeah, you good right where you at.
I'm doing all right.
I'm perfectly good, thanks. And she looks like Skeletor now. She lost all this weight, and she was never like a big girl, but she was like a like a average sized woman.
Yeah.
But now she's like, she looks like, yeah, He-Man. She wanted to be Skullface mom for real.
Last week when my grandma had to pick my mama from the airport, so my grandma calls me. It was Friday. She was like, "Hey, we're at the airport right now, and I don't remember where I parked." And the fucked up thing is, I'm like when I get on the treadmill, I'm watching Sopranos, just to kind of give myself.
When I'm watching Sopranos, I'm ordering food. That show is the hungriest show in America. All they do on that show is fuck, shoot, and eat.
Yeah, that's why I get on the treadmill to watch it. So it's like I'm not tempted to do any of that. So all I could think about though was Junior, like in those later seasons. And I pulled up to the airport. It's raining. I see my grandma like walking. To be fair, that parking garage on the 6th floor was confusing as fuck because I got confused. And I was like, how the fuck do I get out of here? But, because Sarah was like, she shouldn't be driving anymore. My grandma's 93. She does well. She's fine. We drove to Delaware and she didn't use GPS. She still knows. Damn. It was like, God damn, okay. Like, I was nervous. I was like, I think we're going to go off this bridge, but all right, I trust you, Grandma.
Yeah.
But in her defense, I told her, I was like, no, that fucking garage is confusing as fuck. Like, I didn't know how to get out myself.
Did you say it just like that? Yeah. Did you say grandma's fucking garage? If you did, that'd have been so tight. And she's like, yeah. What I love about my grandma, especially, is like, she doesn't like. I can do things and people react. I do like wild shit on our ground. She's just like, that's just him. Like, I'll kick some shit over. She's like, okay.
I think I told this story before. One time, my grandmother didn't like to drive at all, and especially as she got older. But one day I needed to do something after school, and it wasn't for school, but I needed her to come pick me up. And she did, and it was like in the evening. We were coming out of the school parking lot, and this car came up behind us, like another student, and honked their horn at her. And I hopped out the car and I was like, honk your horn at my I'll rip you out of that fucking car. I'll let this motherfucker have it. And got back in the car and we went home. Anyway, years later, I'm driving her and I'm at a red light and I'm fucking off. I'm not paying attention. And somebody honks their horn at me and I make the turn or whatever and go. And she was like, do you remember that time? And she was disgusted, by the way, when I hopped. She was like, what? She's like, you're becoming an animal. I can't even look at you. You're just a nasty person, you know? But anyway, I made that left, and she was like, you remember that time that you hopped out on that person and started screaming at him and threatening him? And I was like, I do. And she was like, you were a fiery little thing.
That's what's up. You're supposed to look out for the grandmothers, man. I got one story to kind of add to that. Was with my mother. We had went to a store and a guy took her parking spot. So she drove past the guy and she was like, yeah, fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, ma, don't do that. So she parked somewhere else further. We go into the store. I told her, I said, ma, I forgot something in the car. Can I go get it? She said, yeah. So we go to I go out in the parking lot. I didn't forget nothing in the car. And I broke that dude's side mirror. And I was just like, yeah, that's what you get for taking my mother's parking lot. Parking spot.
That's what warms my heart.
And
yeah, I know, right?
And my mother is a very irrational Mediterranean woman. And one time we were at a drive-through and she ordered, I think it was McDonald's, and she ordered a cheeseburger plain. So in my head, you're getting bun, cheese, patty, bun. Right? In her head, she was getting bun, patty, bun. So she got it, and she was a check your meal at the window type bitch, fucking the whole line up, you know. What I mean? And so she opened it up, and she's like, "There's cheese on this burger." And they're like, you said a cheeseburger plain. And she was like, what'd you put cheese on a plain? And like, I was sitting next to her like, you sound like a raving fucking lunatic. So she took peeled the bun off the cheese piece. You know, that's all, like fucked now. And just throws them at the woman. She's like, stupid fucking, she's throwing 3 pieces, right? Bun, patty, bun with the cheese. It was stupid. Fucking idiot.
Hey, man.
But she was a fucking embarrassment. Like anywhere you went, she was just a fucking, it was like a ticking time bomb, just temper and.
That was the one thing, like
typical
with my mom. She wasn't on that level. But my mom, she was the only girl out of 8 kids. So she was always looking for a fight, always looking for a fight, talking shit to anyone with and for a period, that was my mindset, always looking for a fight. And when I figured it out, I was like, I gotta stop looking for fights because I don't want to be her, but also somebody gonna fuck me up one day. So I just need to chill. Yeah. But yeah, that it was a fine experience. So happy Mother's Day, to that. Been, like I said, rewatching Sopranos, been just finished up X-Men 97.
There you go.
I did that as well. What'd you think? Did you watch it? Did you finish it as well?
Yes, I did.
Season, big hour-long finale, 40-minute, 50 minutes.
I didn't even look at the time because I didn't want to know nothing. Just, it was like, I turned it on. I was like, I don't want to know how long it is. Just feed me what you have, and however it goes, I'm going to accept it. But I don't want to see like, oh shit, there's 5 minutes left. Now I'm expecting, this thing or that thing. It was just like, just let it play out. And I didn't even know it was that long.
So I was
what?
So to speak.
Oh my goodness.
So I wasn't looking to find out, but I was like, some time had gone by on the motherfucker, and I was like, God damn! Like I was like, it doesn't feel like it's gonna wrap up anytime soon. Right. And so I hit the screen, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, we're only halfway through, and we're at a full episode already. So, it was good.
Oh yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, I can tell y'all this. So I was supposed to be in the gym that morning, yesterday morning, with my group, and I was like, no, I think I'm gonna watch a couple minutes of this. And so it was just like, okay, a couple minutes. I should have been there 5 minutes ago. A couple more minutes. Fuck it, they done warmed up. So then I told him, yeah, I gotta take my daughter to school. So they talking shit. But I did go to the gym later on that day. I hate leg day anyway. Fuck that shit. But it was worth it though. It was worth it. The episode was that fucking good.
It was good. It was and obviously they're gonna continue again, and they've already. I just want to put this on record. They killed Magneto twice.
Yes,
and they've brought him back twice.
Yes.
Well, so that was an article I read like a while back though. So it was like talk about, well, how many times have they killed Magneto? And you know, and even last episode when Rogue, he was like, how many more people are going to die? Jean, been there, done that.
Yeah.
And Sarah, she doesn't get it. So it was like, Jesus Christ. And then Morph, he's barely been on the team for 30 minutes before you throw him out there. It was like, Jesus Christ, like on it all back.
Big facts.
Speaking of Morph, when he morphs, he gets the powers?
Apparently now, right?
So that's always been a debate amongst shapeshifters, whether it be Mystique, Morph, Changeling, whoever the fuck. It's like, do they get the powers or do they not? I think Mystique does not get the powers.
I don't remember Morph but it's been a long time since.
But Morph is not like a comic. character.
So
he was made for the cartoon.
He was in the comics, but it was like one book or something. He was like a super obscure.
Yeah, I know he made it to Age of Apocalypse, and maybe in that series he had the powers of, right?
Yes.
So he could change and then be that person.
This version of Morph, once Age of Apocalypse happened, that's where they're like, okay, we're going to bring him into the regular fold. But Changeling, I think, way back in the day, that was impersonating Professor X, was supposed to be the Morph character that they were trying to represent. But, they killed him 27 minutes into the series.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good, and I'm looking forward. I think more to the next one, just because I think that Apocalypse is a more interesting villain.
Yes.
Did you see all the end credit ones? All the end credit scenes?
No.
So I thought it was only the two, because they showed them going where they went.
Yeah.
Because Bishop was like, they're in time, so you do know about that part.
Well, Bishop goes back to Seep Forge,
right? But did you? So
when the credits hit, I turned it off.
Okay, so go back, because there's two scenes actually.
Oh, okay.
There's the scene to tell you what's happening, where they at.
Well, I see it. You see him in 3000 BC.
Yeah, and then there's another one because they split, and then there's one more after that, and this actually have Apocalypse in it.
Yeah, but so did the one before.
That was Apocalypse from back in the day.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He seemed like he's nice. He's a good dude.
In Sabah's Noir, whatever.
Yeah,
he's
and
being
then
persecuted.
And then it's the back to present day. He's in Genosha after they got fried.
Huh.
And he's holding a card in his hand. And so people are making comments like, oh, he's bringing, he might bring Gambit back as Death and stuff like that, which could possibly work.
That sounds likely.
I told everybody from the beginning, if you think these motherfuckers are dead, you've never read a comic book.
It's like the episode where they killed Gambit. It was a shock. It was like, oh shit, because it's like,
and that's my favorite character. So if they do leave him dead, I'm gonna be butthurt about this.
Look, but I'm going on the black people that I know on Facebook. You would have thought they lost a cousin. They were just like, oh man, you look at Facebook, all the black dudes I know, oh man, R.I.P. He was the realest. I can't believe they took my man. I'm like, bro, he's a cartoon character. But you see every post, like after that Wednesday episode, there was some sad motherfuckers out there.
Dude, I'm telling you, like as a kid, everything that I thought was cool, Gambit personified.
Yes.
He was a ladies' man. He smoked cigarettes. He kept a deck of cards on him for no reason. He wore a trench coat.
Always ready to play
in the summertime, this motherfucker was hot.
So that was something that I was talking to Sarah about. I was like, 90s comics made no sense when it came to like certain characters wore jackets and others, like Black Knight had a jacket.
Yeah.
Cyclops had a jacket.
Rogue
had a jacket. Yep. Gambit, sometimes Wolverine, depending. It was like Jubilee running around with a jacket. It's like,
Jubilee was sweaty as shit too. Jubilee's jacket was pleather or plastic or some shit.
It was that raincoat.
Her ass is always sweaty. What the fuck?
And now she's got like a bodysuit, so it's like,
yeah.
Dude, if you put on a raincoat now because it's overcast and it doesn't rain, you're like, fuck my whole day.
Yes, so blown.
But
it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought they did a good job.
Yeah, they did.
I will say, I think it was I think it's the best TV show I've seen so far this year. I think. Let me make sure. I usually keep tabs on these things in my end of the year wrap up.
I don't know what I've watched this year. Oh no, okay.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Curb. Curb is fucking good, man.
I gotta check that out. Who?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, the joint from back in the day.
Yeah,
my wife liked that.
Dude, that fucking that's my fucking guy.
Yeah, she's been pulling out the mode episodes too.
Dude, that motherfucker is so funny, dude. Like, just like the way he sees the world and how fucking uncompromising he is. Like, he just can't go with the fucking flow, you know? And like, I relate to that shit so much because I have a hard time going with the flow. You know, I'm just like, if
it doesn't make sense. It's like, well, why are we doing that?
You know, like if somebody tells you, you know, like shit, like when people tell him to take his shoes off in their house, and he's like,
Wow.
you know,
I kind of agree with him on that though. Sometimes I'm like, for what? What's the purpose?
it's just so fucking funny, man. Like, I like just a little shit. Like, I love my favorite episode of Curb is that one where he was talking a whole bunch of shit about the Lakers because he's a New Yorker, right? So he was like, people know he hates the Lakers. Then he ends up, floor side or whatever they call it, floor seats at the fucking Laker game, and he's talking to his buddy, and he's just uncomfortable, so he stretches his legs out while he's talking to him, and ends up tripping Shaquille O'Neal by accident, and then everybody thinks he did it on purpose because of how vocal he is about hating the Lakers. So like the whole rest of the episode is like people trying to avoid him and stay out of his way and like just have nothing to do with him. But what they don't realize is that just made him like the happiest person on earth because he doesn't want to deal with anyone. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, it's just the layers and layers and layers of the shit they do in those shows are so fucking good.
But yeah, watching X-Men 97, that was kind of it did everything I needed it to do for me. I watched a show on Prime called Them. So it was a second season. They had a season last year. And it's kind of a pseudo horror series, like creepy shit going on. But the first season revolves around a black family moving to Compton back in the 50s. And Compton back then obviously isn't what we know with NWA to this day.
Are you speaking of Bompton?
Yeah, you can't say C. Nah, cuz you can't say C. Bomb.
Well, look,
Sorry, I've been listening to a lot of Kendrick Lamar recently.
But basically, this black family, they move into an all white neighborhood, and they're being harassed and tormented.
There goes the neighborhood. Am I right?
and that's what it is. It's like, they kind of have some creepy shit going on there. So that's season one. So, I'm flipping through and I see, there's a second season. I was like, okay, because the way the first one ended, it was like, it's pretty clear. They left. It was like, fuck this, we're out. So like, how are we doing in season two? Well, season two, it's 91. And, we're still out there in LA. And, Rodney King, all that shit's going on at this point. You got a black detective. She's on the force, and there's still creepy shit going on.
Not much, but yes,
to an extent. But there's some stuff going on, like kind of with the timing of like the story, because there's one story going on, and there's another story going on, and you're kind of like, okay, they're looking for this individual, and just kind of to spoil it, it's like the detective who's looking for this killer, and there's this other guy that telling the story too. This guy's telling his story from 89, but at no point do they give you any dates or anything, even when they show the VHS. The times and the date are left with the dashes, so you don't know any of this until they kind of reveal it later. And I thought it was done. I thought it was really well done, because even when they you're aware of all this, now you're more invested in it. Sort of like, shit, like how does this all connect? There are some other bigger pieces to it.
That shit out there is so fascinating to me, man. Like, because it's like it really does drive the point home of its poverty, right? Because like, when I would watch like rap video, I mean, I didn't go to California until 2005, I think, for the first time, and then I went to LA for the first time like 2 years ago, and like. But like watching rap videos and shit, which is like my only real exposure to it, I'm like, what the fuck are these motherfuckers mad about? Like, you got a single family house, You know what I mean? It's sunny as fuck. Palm trees in your front yard. You know, and there's a weight set there too. So just knock some weights out of you. Get too upset. You know what I mean? Just get a couple reps out. Sets and reps. You know what I mean? Like if you look like on the East Coast, it's like just like layers and layers of bricks and stone and people stacked on top of people. You're like, no wonder these motherfuckers are upset. You know what I mean? But then I look over here, I'm like, man, just do some sunbathing. What the fuck are you so mad about? You know, but it goes to show, like, it's not necessarily about the living condition. It's about haves and have-nots, right? Like, it's interesting.
Well, I mean, also too, it's like, yeah, you know, it's like you got all this beauty and all this nice shit, but then, you know, when you have, like, from what I understand over in California, you know, especially now, you know, everything's kind of still restricted and, you know, to some degree, you know, they have all types of bullshit rules, like, and this is still stemming from COVID. So,
oh yeah. And I know, like when I was out there, they had like, there was something cause they couldn't evict you or whatever.
Yeah.
So there was
yeah,
like,
bullshit
there was like Windobagos and shit, like just parked all over the fucking streets and like, with people just living there. And the city couldn't do anything about it. Like, so it's like, you know, like you take an exit ramp, you can barely get up the exit ramp because it's just fucking Windobagos stacked in a row on the right.
No
you know,
shit.
yeah, it was insane.
it was like tents, like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I could put a tent in your front lawn, you can't do shit about it.
Yeah, you know, I walk through all that shit. I walked through Skid Row, and because I wanted to experience, like, I'm like, I want to see the real shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like,
I
so
saw
like,
it on TV, but let me smell it.
Let's see if
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really what had happened.
Yeah, so I'm taking my family through there like a goddamn lunatic, and you know, but it's also, dude, I'll be honest with you, it's important for them to see that like life is not what you know it. Life is fucking hard, and life will get a hold of you and turn you inside out. You know what I mean? Like you are living in this fantasy world, and you know what I mean? This is not real life.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So it's important for me to show them that, but it's also like it's important. I just want to see it because I like to see the real. You know, what I mean, I just want to see reality.
Well, there's something to be appreciated about that though too, because I was just talking to someone yesterday how, you know, a lot of people, especially online, a lot of people, anytime some shit goes down, everybody's an expert all of a sudden. You know, I know so many virologists now. Like everybody's an expert on viruses now. Meanwhile, 10 years ago, most people couldn't tell me, you know, what influenza was.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
it's the fucking
very
flu, you fucking fucking dumb bastard. I'm
You
getting
had to say
better.
that whole mentally ridiculous.
See, I'm getting better, dude. I'm getting better. But you know, there's so many people though that, you know, will take, you know, just something they saw on TV and they'll look at this experience like, oh, well, I know. And it's like versus like actually, you know, going out there and seeing so you can, you know, or talking to people, you know, so there is an appreciation to that, you know, when it comes to anything, you know, like we were talking earlier about the ego in jiu-jitsu and like folks like, oh, that shit wouldn't work on me. It's like, well, go out there and, you know, do a trial. And then you come back with, oh, that shit, maybe it would work.
You talking about ayahuasca?
I mean, that too.
Hey, the piggyback off of what you said about jiu-jitsu, the realest thing that's actually fake that happened to me that made me realize it's okay to lose a fight. Remember Expendables? And Stallone fought Stone Cold, and then Terry Crews said, "What happened to you?" He said, "Man, I got my ass whipped." I was like, I think it's okay to lose a fight or two as long as you don't die.
I actually think it's important.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been in a fair amount of fights in my life, and I couldn't necessarily tell you all the ones that went well, but I can tell you every single one I lost. You know, I learned something every single time.
Yep, that's right. Damn right.
And that's the thing with jiu-jitsu. It's like, you know, if you ain't losing, you ain't learning. And jiu-jitsu was like kind of the first time I really felt at a disadvantage in any way, shape, or form in a fight physically. And I was bigger than most of the dudes. And I was just like, oh my God, like what the fuck is this? So, I mean, it's important, not just, you know, for us, but like even just, you know, watching your favorite boxer. Mike Tyson got knocked out by Buster Douglas.
That shit hurt.
You know, that's an important moment because it's like, how do they bounce back from this? You know, whenever you have a champion.
What was the hardest L to watch from Mike Tyson? For you?
Holyfield.
Mine was Lewis.
Like,
Lewis to me looked like, I'll tell you why. And I get the Holyfield one too. The Lennox Lewis fight was like watching Mike could just be completely unsuccessful. You know, Lennox Lewis's arms are about 30 feet long, and he was standing on one side of the fucking ring, and Tyson was trying to get to him from the other side of the ring, and Lennox is just landing these fucking punches right on top of his head from the other side of the ring, and Mike couldn't do shit about it. It was like watching your dad get his ass kicked or something. Like it was a rough one for me. But especially after all that, I'm gonna eat your kids, all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? You fucking eat these punches from the other side of the ring is what you're gonna do.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. It's like, you know, being in a nightmare. It's like, you know, trying to run in a nightmare, you can't run. It's like watching that, like, personified on TV. It's like, oh my God, there's not shit he can do.
Yeah.
Like, this is a nightmare. I mean, the Holyfield fight, you know, was tough just because it's like, this is a dude who isn't a natural heavyweight. And he, you know, I mean, he was getting them on skill. And it's like, yeah, everybody else had skill too.
Yeah.
And they were bigger.
Yeah.
But Mike still dominated them. But Holyfield was like, I'm not letting you get in my head, and I'm a better boxer than you, and you ain't hitting me.
Yeah.
And it was tough watching that because it's like, damn, dude, like, you got everything against you, and you know, you ain't letting this dude have it.
That dude Lennox Lewis, though, from the other. It's your Ross Claude.
That's all he needed, though. That's all
It's
he
weird. Like, whenever I see a British fighter, it's like, and I hear him talk, it's like, I just can't take you serious. And then when they win, I'm like, I get it.
Put him up then.
Like the UFC welterweight champion, he's British, and I mean he's fucking great. But it's like every time I hear him talk, it's like, God, dude, just don't do interviews. Just stop.
What, shit, that dude that's out in England now, black guy Joshua, what's his name? Joshua.
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, he kind of tough.
Yeah,
he kind of
well,
tough.
He's had some weird moments too, where it's like he's like that guy, and then he'll mentally just step out. But he just fought the former UFC heavyweight Francis Ngannou, because Ngannou had a good match with Tyson Fury, even knocked him down. People debate that he won, and then Anthony Joshua was like, let me show you. He dropped him in the first round, and then he just, like, as soon as the second round started, he just knocked Francis out. I was like,
I'm not a big like UFC fan, but like I'll tell you the greatest thing to come out of UFC is those fucking memes where they get hit and then they like end up doing something else as they're going down. Like, they get hit and they fall like this, and then they're like vacuuming the rug and shit. Like,
I bet those shits have been on my fucking
dude,
wall a lot.
Even the bad ones are still good. I just saw one the other day. This dude hit him so hard he kind of like rolled forward, and they turned him into Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, they're great. What else has been going on?
It's pretty much the bulk of everything. Back to training, pretty consistently. I feel good about it. I was supposed to compete last week, but
I just found out you work for Smokey's wife.
Yeah. So that was going to come up because I didn't get approved for today until late yesterday. So I bumped into her, like, because I'm not normally at the center. I had to stop in, and you know, she wasn't in her office, so I was like, I'm leaving. I see her, was like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, and we were talking because one of my guys wasn't in, and she was like, oh, you know, it looks like you got kind of a chill day. I was like, yo, yeah. By the way, tomorrow, so no, I saw it. I was like, okay, just checking because I wasn't going to be here. Like,
yeah, I hit him up. Like I actually like I'll talk about it a bit more on my Nerd Week, but like I've been motivated recently to kind of touch base with people from back in the day and do 2 series of podcasts for Patreon. One, I want you there for. I want you to. I want to do. I'm not sure how to split it up yet. I want to do a series about the music era of like people that were making music in the local scene and have them come out and like tell their story. And the other one, but like that's tied to me to the world. And the place, the world, for those new listeners today, that comes up on here fairly often. But like I want to do a series about people that just lived or experienced the world and call it what a wonderful world. You know, but I don't know whether to just put it all under the same umbrella. You know what I mean? I don't know. But like, anyway, I hit him up because I want to have him out for an episode, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm there." Like, say less. So I love that about him. But then we just got to talking a bit, and he was like, "Dude, Dante actually like works for my wife," and I was like, "No shit." And
yeah, she is. One day I was driving home, I get a text from her. I was like, my husband knows you. And I hate when any woman says that shit. Like, what? Yeah. Like, and then I text you because I was like, yo, what was Smokey's name? Because she said she said Daryl. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it, I'm trying to like play to her. I don't know fucking Daryl. Who the fuck is Daryl? Then that's when I was like, hold on. I think, and I text you, and then I was like, okay, all right. And then I text her back, and as you're responding to me, you might know him as Smokey.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, he mentioned Mario, Brutus. I was like, yes, absolutely, yes, and then, but I always tell Sarah's like, because she graduated, they all graduated same class. Sarah, Smokey, I think same class.
Yeah.
And Sarah knows Nikki, and I always say like, look, I think she lets me get away with a lot of stupid shit because her husband knows me. So it's probably like, she probably goes like, that dude Dante. He was like, baby, he's a little dumb. Just let him have this. He's going to do dumb shit, but he is a good worker. He's just kind of dumb sometimes.
He used to crack me up. He was a funny fucking dude, but like he said, I remember we had this one class together, and there was this girl in the class. I forget her real name. She went by Peaches, and her and her head, she looked like she had the Zika virus or whatever that shit was. Like she had this little ass head. Like she was a petite girl anyway, but her head looked like just like somebody squeezed her shoulders just a little too long, and this little pop just went. You know what I mean? And she was like, you can call me Peaches. She like said that in the class, and I remember Smoke saying like, what about if I just decide to call you Lil Head? It's like one of the first days of school. I think it was funny as shit. I remember he like never took anything seriously, which is like one of the things I loved about him. But like I was somewhere with him one time, and it was like at a club, and they somebody went down, like somebody like passed out at this club, and they like called in like medics to come get her, and they brought in this like chair that you put people in to like wheel people out. Like it's like a collapsible chair, and it unfolds, and they brought it out, and when they brought it, looks like a little like a little rectangle almost, and they brought in this rectangle, and then they sat it down, and it turned into this chair. And this girl, we knew her, and Smoke was like pretty close to her, and everybody's supposed to be super concerned. This girl's like unconscious, and Smoke was like, look at that little device. That shit made me laugh so fucking hard. Anyway, but so it just came out recently. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like, yeah, training is going great, and a big part of it is work. Like that job, I've been there for a year now, just over a year, and yeah, like I come home happy. Nice. I come home, I'm able to I get home, I record like right away,
right?
So I get all that shit off the table. But like I'm able to like go to the playground with the kid, go, just be with my family. So
yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
So, but I think that's pretty much it, unless something pops up in the middle of y'all talking like, hey, whoa.
What about you, Greg? What do you got?
Man, so
you were just here last week.
I know, right? So what have I been doing? Staying at home. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I got today? I ain't got no notes. No, I ain't never got no notes. Fuck that
I
shit.
started notes last night, and I was like, I'll be all right.
Y'all do that. Y'all professional, and I'll be looking at y'all still. I'll say, damn,
I just try not to forget.
Yeah, but I'll be like, maybe I should write this shit down. But I'll be like, I think I'll be out.
Yeah, because I just forget. That's why they used to give me a hard time about it, because I'd be like, there's something else. They'd be like, if only you had something that you could write it down in.
Apes.
I did too. So I'll bring that up on mine. Okay. We'll get to it.
Was that the last Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, yeah, because we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
So I'm just playing catch up. Saw X-Men 97. My wife put me on the Billions.
Okay.
You ever seen that? Paul Giamatti. It was on Showtime.
He's great.
Yeah, I think they only have 7 seasons. Well, okay. That's not a lot. But that shit is good. Like I started off just like chiming in. I was like, I don't want to see this shit. Like I'm sitting there, couples time. I'm like, man, I don't want to see this dumb shit. I don't want to see this goofy motherfucker. But what's he doing? I was like, oh shit. So by that time, I'm like, oh, this shit is like that. Play the next one. And so it's pretty good from what I've seen. Like it's he's like he's like a lawyer kind of something like that, and he's trying to bake somebody who this guy that works as in the stocks. This guy is a billionaire. he's gotten basically his fortune through, playing the stock market. And I think he's done a couple of legal things here and there. So he's trying to get him. Paul Giamatti is this hard ass guy who is just bent on trying to get that, that prestige. It's prestige to build himself up. Cause this fool, in one episode I saw, he could have went to a law firm, made $1 million a year. And he was like, I don't think I want to do this shit. I was like, bruh. And even the law guy was the owner of the law firm was like, I know you only make like 180,000 right now. If you come to us, I'll give you $1 million a year. You got box seats. You can work when you want. If you want to go to the golf course, I don't give a fuck. That's what he was saying. He was like, no, I don't think I want to do this shit. And I was like, well, you're stupid, but okay. But that's what I'm saying. He's real big on catching. He's one of those characters that are, they like the job, like that police officer that would rather make the little bit of pay just to get the wire. He's like McNulty.
Okay.
McNulty had to get Avon. McNulty had to get Marlowe. That's how he is. And he goes to like these limps of doing it. The only thing is, this guy that he fucking with, his name is Axel. I don't know his first name, but he owns this company, Axel something. This dude's smart as shit too. And he knows him because the funny thing is, Paul Giamatti's character, his wife, works for Axe. And as the therapist for his company.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's like some tough stuff to watch, So that's been, kind of like my thing. Watching the same little silly stuff, like catching back up with Young Justice again.
Are you? How is it?
It's good. It's like now it's just like I'm just like with X-Men with the Easter eggs and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going back on now. So I'm like, oh yeah, like they have reused so many characters. Like, and I'm not talking about the main characters. They reused characters that you didn't pay attention to that they brought back into further seasons. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
That's cool.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I got a question for you, man.
Shoot.
Couple questions. I watched Transformers the movie again.
The first?
The cartoon when we grew up.
Oh, okay, 86. Okay.
So I got questions.
Okay.
The Autobots and the Decepticons can survive in space, correct?
Correct.
They can survive underwater, correct?
Apparently.
So why the fuck in the movie Galvatron's choking Hot Rod? Yeah. I'm like, this fucker's choking him out, and I'm like, he doesn't breathe air, so who gives a fuck?
So I'll play devil's advocate. He's crushing his neck. He's not choking him. He's just crushing the actual.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and there's a cord. There's a very important cord that runs from his brain down, and you can't crush the cord.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was sitting back watching this shit. I was like, what the fuck is he doing besides just running his mouth about shit? But
yeah, that movie's I still wish that somebody, that they would re-release it and include all that extra fighting footage.
Yeah.
Like I could watch that city fight. I could watch a Snyder cut of it. Like if it was like 4 hours long, I'd be like, give it to me.
Like even if they showed the combiners fighting at the space shuttle and the Ark.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I can just see it in my head. So to speak. You know what I'm saying? I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see how, it played. I even saw like the little scenes that they showed. I'm like, they need to do that.
Because there was a bunch of shit with Sideswipe in it that they cut out and everything. So there's a whole bit with Ultra Magnus carrying cars like on his trailer. And
I think I saw
rolled
that.
off, hopped off, and like went to, you know what I mean? Like I wish they would have brought. I wish somebody would do like an extra cut of that, or like one of them. But nowadays, I feel like motherfuckers could probably animate it themselves with a program. You know what I mean? And just, but I don't know. I would love to watch more of it. Yeah. And I would love, don't get me wrong, like, I'm also okay with moving forward because sometimes the G1 shit does get exhausting to me. More so from the fans than from the actual G1 shit. But like, filling in that gap from 86 to 2005 is like, there's tons of stories there to tell, and I wish they would do something with that in a comic or something. Anything else?
Let's see. What else? Like I said, we were talking earlier about the gym. Just trying to get back right in that.
Yeah.
It's a process, man. It is a process.
It's a whole line for everything. It's a process, and I got nothing but time.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I do. It's just the mental part. Now, this is the part, Dante, when we were talking about the ego. When you come off a lift in a certain way, and then you lose that, it's just like, like yesterday I was just kind of bummed out. Like I said, fuck leg days. I don't like leg day, but I'll still do it. But it was just to a point, like some of the workouts I was doing, my buddy in the gym, he was like, are you depressed? I was like, because it was gray, cloudy. So I kind of had that thought of, I'm still not over the fact that they let go of me after 22 weeks. So I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, because, you're stronger than this. I was like, honestly, I don't care. And he was just like, what? I was like, yeah, what's the point? And he had to slap me in the back of the head. And he was like, man, you need to get this shit together. And I did. And eventually what happened that day, it was just a bum day. And I don't have too many of those. One of my classmates called me to actually check on me, old classmate. He called me, he's like, hey, how you been? I said, man, today it's kind of hit me that I kind of miss you motherfuckers. He was like, well, you were this for us, you were that for us. We appreciate it. Hell, he's like my age. So he was like, even for me, and I think I'm right all the time. You even put me in a perspective when I was like, you know what, this motherfucker might be right. And I was like, our conversation helped out.
You got a lot of support, like a lot of people.
Yeah. And I wanted to say thank y'all, everybody who said, the kind words, I appreciate that. I really do. It adds to it. It makes me feel good. And it's just a bounce back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think now the other hardest part for me is I wish I could have said more. Like one of the things I wanted to, you don't want to be disrespectful, but at the same time, you kind of got to be like
assertive.
Yeah, I'm like, first of all, I didn't lie to you motherfuckers. I wanted to say that. I didn't lie to you motherfuckers. Second of all, what the fuck took y'all so long to do this shit when I was doing everything I was supposed to do?
Right. And
then I would have also wanted to say, stop telling people that something doesn't matter, and it does matter.
You know what they say? How can you expect me to change when you won't give me the room to grow?
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nah,
I got some shit this week.
Okay.
I'll get to. We already talked about X-Men, so that's taken care of. I'm still watching The Jinx on HBO season 2. It's great, but this last episode was drawn out. This is another one where it's like this shit should have been a movie with shit like this, but it's still interesting. Like, and I know I could Google it and figure out what happens. Do you know what I mean? But I really am along for the ride. Like, I really want to see how it plays out. But this dude it's just interesting to watch a motherfucker with endless money have to defend himself. Like when he's really in a pinch. And how hard it is to actually pin something on a guy with billions of dollars. It's fucking hard, because you got, so to speak, because you got all the money in the world to make it go away.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's interesting. What else? So I watched a movie called Anatomy of a Fall. It was like an Oscar nominated picture. Laura wanted to watch it for Mother's Day. So like I watched it and shit was trash. Like, I do not recommend it. It's I'm not a big foreign film guy. I don't even want to watch anime and shit. Like I don't care enough to read it. You know what I mean? There's 2 movies in my life that I've ever read, so to speak, and enjoyed, and that's Schindler's List. Not that I enjoyed it, but you know what I mean. And Passion of the Christ. And Passion of the Christ has a great devil in it. I say it every time, but it's my favorite devil in any movie. Favorite devil? White devils?
Of course. I live with one.
What would Dr. Umar say? But like, do you have a favorite devil?
No.
You?
I'm trying to think. Bedazzled? Wasn't she a
That's
devil?
a good one. That's a good one.
She was pretty tough. Little Nicky, and he was cool. Yeah. But Bedazzled first, she was a devil, right?
Yeah,
what's his name? From the Prophecy.
That was a good devil. That was a good devil. It was
a fun one.
Yeah.
What
all those times you were under your bed thinking I was there, and I was.
What about the guy from The Golden Child?
Oh, Sodom Numsi.
Yeah, you're Sodom Numsi. Yeah, see? He was a pretty tough devil, too.
Yeah. But he wasn't the devil, was he? Or did he end up being
he was
a demon? Because he had to talk to the devil.
Yeah.
Get the knife.
Now, whoever that's where the voice. Hey, guess. All right, so
that's that voice. They use it all the time. The fucking orc in Lord of the Rings has it. Like, crush the tower.
Check this out, though. My daughter's been watching Aladdin 24/7 every fucking day. The voice of the cave.
That's the forbidden treasure.
That's him.
And it's also, it was the original Soundwave voice also before they put like the effect on it.
You talk like this.
Yeah.
You know, but
okay.
I'm glad they got rid of that, and Soundwave's voice sounds much better.
Yes,
like,
it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, so yeah, my favorite devil is that sexless, ageless thing that's in fucking Passion of the Christ. It freaks me out. Mm-hmm. It makes me uncomfortable. You know, which is like it's not easy for me to feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's something about that imagery that I'm like, I don't like that. Whatever that is, I don't like it, and that makes me love it.
You know
what I mean?
I've never watched Passion of the Christ.
Oh, dude, it's worth it. It's worth a watch. As long as you don't get caught up in the political, you know, the shit that people extrapolated. I just watch it like I'm watching a movie. You know what I mean?
I don't know anything other than, you know, like, but I'm stubborn in that way where, like, when people tell me you have to watch this is so good, then it's like I don't want to, because now I have this expectation, and I'm going to go in and it's going to be here. But I'm expecting to be there. Versus if I just walk in, if I didn't know anything about it, which it's hard to like avoid any of that shit with that movie.
Right. I mean, we all know how it turns out, right?
Well, exactly. And that's always my argument too. Is like, well, I haven't watched that or Titanic because I know how it ends.
Exactly.
We know the end.
But you get to see that old bitch's feet at the end of Titanic, and that is a sight to behold.
They were done though, right? She
done
did have
up.
Them up. Yeah,
done
she did have them done up. She knew. She knew she was going to be on the movies. Like
that was the part where I was pretty mature during it. Like I went with Shane to fucking see that shit, and Shane was laughing through the whole thing. Like he couldn't get enough of it. He was in there. He's obnoxious. He's like this is great. But then like I kept it together. You know, Laura was there. She's fucking sobbing, I'm sure. And then at the end when them old toes reached up on that railing, and I lost it. I fucking lost it. I had done a pretty good job. You remember that time that Shane passed out after?
I was just thinking,
dude. So we like shit. Like so, Shane. He's for those listening. He's the guy that came in and said my basement's stupid. He took one look around. And he was like, wow, this is fucking stupid. But he's like a cool guy. You know what I mean? He's like his hair's always sorted out, and you know what I mean? He's just like a cool, put together dude. So he's not like into Star Wars and shit like that. Like he's not above it, but he just doesn't care, right? So we all went to go see episode 1, and he was like in our friend group, so he just went with us, right? So we all go. Almost got into a fight, I believe, that night. With
episode 1 or 2?
It may have been both. Remember the time Brutus jumped over the what do they call it? We go out
the concessions.
Concession. There was like a little concession stand in the hallway. He just jumped over and filled his cup up and like. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But like we're outside, and it was after the movie, and Shane used to do this thing, all yo, like right. We all used to do it, but like he used to go super exaggerated with it, and all yo could have been anything, right? So like if you like just pulled up in a brand new Benz, I'd be like, oh yo, like like wow, look at that. Or like if I just lost all my Bitcoins, I'd be like, oh yo, like it's like it could be anything, right? So like, but he would always go over the top, like like he would go over the top with it. So he was leaning up against the car, and his shoulders started to like slump, and his eyes rolled in the back of his head, and he started and his mouth opened up, and we all thought he was getting ready to hit the ultimate all yo. That's what I'm playing. And he just passed out like on the fucking floor, pissed himself this whole bit. Like we picked him up, put him in the car, took care of him, got him home, all that shit. I lost my Columbia jacket that night somewhere down the line, but it doesn't matter. I'm clearly over it. But anyway, I remember like talking to him the next day because like we put him in bed, so to speak, and all that kind of shit. And the next day I hit him up like, hey man, you good? He's like, yeah. He's like, dude, the effects just too real these days. The effects are just too real. Where the fuck was I? Before Shane and the all yo and the Passion of the Christ. Passion of the Christ. How the fuck? I went to go see Titanic. Yeah. But yeah, Passion of the Christ is good. And it's a great Satan. Great Satan. All right, and let's see what else. So I'm gonna get the bad bit out of the way, and then I'll do the better bit. So I power washed the house, but like every year, it's funny. Like every year, we're like, next year's the year we're gonna have it done, like properly done, right? Because like, you know, like my house is tall. Like, you know, I'm 5'11". I'm not the biggest dude in the world. My arms are only going to reach so high. So like my house is like super clean from like 6'5" down. But anyway, and then, you know, I'm dealing with this odor. So all that shit. Bad news out the way. So I had talked on here recently about a buddy of mine that was sick and like went to go visit him and all that shit. So he passed. Bass, rest in peace. And
My condolences.
yeah, it's a bummer. But you know, shit like, you know, death often brings out the worst in people, but sometimes it brings out some good too. And I've actually reconnected with a lot of people from that era because of it, like just people coming back to sharing stories and all that kind of shit. And I'm going to share one now. I don't know if it'll land. Maybe I told it already. I probably did, but I can't remember. So we're going to do it one more time. But he was in a rap group called Major Noise, right? And they were like kind of known in the city. And I worked pretty closely with them for a while. And he, when they were just getting up and started, they had shit that was new to me, like a manager and like a PR guy, like, you know, like just, I was like, oh, they got an operation. I'd like to see it. So they sent this manager to some industry event, I think in Las Vegas. And, he's going around and he thinks it's bullshit. He thinks it's just like some low budget shit. Anyway, ends up being not bullshit at all. Like major labels are in the building. Like it's a fucking event. And it was like this, like before like cell phones are really getting up and like, I mean, people have them, but it's not like it is now where people are living on them and you just send a text or whatever. So he's in this event. He may even be paying for peak minutes. You know what I mean? It's like that era. And he's walking around trying to talk to people, but he can't remember the name of the rap group that he's managing. So they were called Major Noise, and then they referred to themselves kind of like as an AKA as the Wolf Pack.
That might have been a Diddy party if you couldn't remember. He done took something.
Maybe. But it was like they were called the Wolf Pack. Also, they called themselves the Wolf Pack. So he's walking around and he's like introducing himself to people and shaking hands. He's like, yeah, man, and you know, and I represent this group. They're called Major Wolves, and so anyway, we've just been, you know, kind of reminiscing, and it's been good. JR, he was a mutual friend. He came out. He hung out last night. He left my house around midnight. You know, telling stories, and actually, like, I have a lot of his music still. So like, JR had a lot of his music. JR like gave me a thumb drive. I gave him a thumb drive to try to, you know, to carry, because it's just like with Rio, and I still can never remember. Do you have Rio shit or not?
I do somewhere.
Okay.
Like, I know that I do because I put it all, like, I have disc.
Uh-huh.
And I put it all on a hard drive, but that hard drive got like fried. So,
okay.
But I know I have the disc. It's just which box.
Got you. Because there's one Rio song that I really want. I think it's called After Party. Actually, I
don't have. I was gonna say I might have it on my phone, but I don't think I have any of
that girl Rachel that he was hanging around. That was like a Phoenix girl. But she was like she sang la 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 some shit like that on the.
And these are all songs y'all put together.
Yeah, we're just people in the scene and shit,
sweet.
and like and I have most of it. Like I have done like a pretty great job. If I can pat myself on the shoulder a bit, like of curating it, keeping it, you know, cataloging it. Like I have it saved in 4 places in case anything goes down. Like because like it's not like you can just go and buy a copy, you know. It was a whole bunch of people that were trying to make it, you know, in a community of sorts. Nice. And you know, none of it. Well, some people like. So one of the guys that was part of Major Noise, he worked on the Life of Pablo album, you know. So like some of these guys have done stuff, but you know, most of them, you know, it didn't pan out, as most of people it doesn't pan out for. But
I got a homeboy. He was back in the day when, you know, he was down in Savannah. And he was under like this Dope Boy Sandwich, that's what they was called, and his name was Lyric. Man, but he was always freestyling in high school, and he hit you with like that Eric B type, like he hit you with those big words, and I'd be like, damn, where do you come up with this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he actually recorded a couple things. I remember one time he came up here, we go to the strip club and he's just like dropping dollars. I said, what the fuck? Where you get this money from? I mean, he really paying for the strip. He's paying for my strippers. I was like, where you get this money from? I ghostwrite I said, well, what the fuck is that? And he was like, I wrote for some other rappers so they could do this shit. And they paid me this amount of money. I was like, get the fuck out of here. So I can understand, that passion for, what y'all was doing.
Wow. Yeah. And I could go, and I plan on diving more into some of those stories, but but I like the good news is like I have a lot of the music. So actually, like Dange and I have been talking, and Dange, who's another like a rapper in the local scene, I did a Noah Guy episode with him. He's gonna come out in December, and we're gonna do a Bobby Boogie Bop episode like on the local scene and play records and talk about some of them that like almost made it and shit like that. But it's good. It's good. It was good to see JR again, really hang out with him and. And we talked about like, working on stuff and, just for fun and trying to finish. Bass has a whole bunch of like stuff he was working on that's like unfinished and trying to like finish it off and, make something for him and, and his kid and, to have and cause dude was good, So anyway, it was a bummer and rest in peace, Bass and thoughts to his family and all that. And, and he's, he's a good dude. He's not having a funeral. He's not having. He donated his body to science so that there could just be less of a financial strain for his family and all that shit. Like, good dude, man.
That's what's up.
And then lastly, apes. So, let me start by saying this. Phil hit the group chat and said it was mid. Phil is out his ice cream cake eating mind. That fucking shit was good. It wasn't amazingly good. It wasn't as good. I don't think it was as good as the other ones.
No.
But it was fucking good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of how I feel about X-Men 97 in some ways, where I'm like, I don't think it's the best thing ever made. It was fucking really good.
Yeah.
I was emotionally invested. There's some messiness to the human element of it that
So that was my complaint, and Sarah was like, she was like, I'm not understanding what your issue is.
I didn't understand potential spoilers.
Yes, please spoil that shit because I'm not going to see it.
So it takes place generations after, they say generations, right? Many generations, I think.
So yes, at many generations.
The city's completely overrun with, wildlife and everything else. Like nature has reclaimed it, if you will.
So that means we have lost.
Yes, yes. But there's this group of humans in it that obviously are still okay. They're hidden, but they have pants and boots and so
they seem very
okay.
Yeah.
All right, where's the cobbler? You know what I mean? Who's making these fucking boots?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not coming from China anymore. You know what I mean? So somebody's got to get a fucking needle and thread and make these fucking boots. So I'm just I guess they could have you can explain it, right? You can explain it. They went to different cities and scoured thrift stores and brought all this stuff back and went through it and cleaned it and that's cool. But I needed some explanation as to why that they're okay. And one of the things I thought that the Apes movies was trying to show is that the humans were actually de-evolving to a point because of the virus. They were becoming dumber.
Yes.
But why aren't they becoming dumber? And some of them had suits on. So you're okay, so they're protecting themselves from atmosphere. But that girl wasn't.
No.
So I'm that was the one part. That's what took it from a 10 out of 10 movie for me to an 8 out of 10 movie for me.
There's the sloppiness with the humans. That was my biggest gripe was that. And I was trying to explain to Sarah, they look well put together for folks that have been out generations because, what's generations? And, they left it vague for a reason.
I was just about to ask you that. What is the definition? Are we talking 20-year difference, 40-year difference?
Yeah. Well, I'd seen something somewhere and I don't know what's fact or what's what, but there was talk about this is supposed to take place 300 years later. And if that's the case, it's still kind of well, that's still
That's enough time to lose your way, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like I feel like in 2 weeks we wouldn't recognize society anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you know what I mean, like it would be a disaster.
But you can still get boots though.
But you can still get boots.
Yeah, you can still get boots.
But 300 years, I'm not sure if you can get boots.
yeah. I mean,
Oh, there'll be some tough Timberlands out there. They be holding
They
it down.
better be.
well, and that's the thing.
They better
Even
be.
if it's 80 years, let's say, I mean, you're still at a point where it's like there are folks in there that look like, oh, you know, you look modernized, you look put together,
Yeah.
you look clean.
Yeah.
And they're protecting themselves with like hazmat suits or whatever the fuck. And then one chick's just out there all willy nilly fucking running around with the apes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Just mixing it up.
Wait a minute. Like,
And it's also maybe the virus is so far gone now that it is safe, and
It could be.
So like all of it can be explained. It's not unexplainable, but they just didn't explain it.
yeah. Well, and that's just the thing. It's like you didn't explain. You threw this out there, and you know it's kind of like it's undercooked.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a little undercooked.
it's like
The ape stuff is great,
oh no, that all of that was fine. I was
Yeah.
okay with all of that. Honestly,
and they carried the movie perfectly
like,
fine.
I didn't need
humans.
yeah, they could have gone.
It's a lesson about Transformers.
Yeah, so you can't choke a transformer. Thank you. It goes back to what I was saying. You cannot choke a transformer. I'm sorry, Dante.
Captain America tried to choke Ultron.
Oh
true.
my
It's a fact.
gosh.
It's true.
It
It's
was
true.
a bitch ass choke too.
Hey, he's a sellout in 97 too. I just want to add that.
Oh.
Yeah, Steve, you're a fucking sellout. If you were a real person, you're a B.I.B.I. Remember that shit?
I do. I
Hey,
do.
look, he's soft, bruh.
Hey, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But the thing with apes, that was just, fucking with me again was just, it's like this chick in itself. And then also too, the trailer, as always, trailers fuck some shit up.
Mm-hmm.
They made it this big deal, the big reveal, and they show, oh, there's a human girl. Oh, she talks. And it's like, don't give me that in the trailer.
Yeah, that's
Like,
fair.
let me
That's
see
fair.
this in the movie. Give me the mystery there. But then even with that, it's not even what the story was in the movie anyway.
Yeah.
Like, none
What
of that.
a wonderful day! That was great. I loved that
Like-
that ape. And I loved the gorilla. I loved the that they were like a clan and had built a culture around these eagles and all. Like I loved all of it. Except the human thing needed some explanation for me. But it, like I said, a sequel to that could make that movie a 9 out of 10 for me. Like if they explain it, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And now okay, it all works out for me.
And it feel, someone when we were leaving the theater was saying there's supposed to be 9 total with the ones that we got before.
Oh, really?
And then, so we're at 4. So there's supposed to be 5 more. coming.
I'm here for it.
So I was like,
I loved Raqqa. I connected to all these apes. Like they do a great job, like making them characters.
Okay, I'm
But
sold.
yeah, I
I'm
mean-
gonna go see that shit.
yeah, the story, like just apes alone.
Yeah.
So I was sold.
Raqqa was like the orangutan, like with,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. With we wore like the necklace of
Yeah.
Caesar's window.
Oh, I loved it. Well, and
So good, dude.
So Sophie sat and watched the original 3 with us last week.
Those movies are fucking great.
Yeah.
They're fucking great.
Well, I forgot how good they were until we
it's like
sat down and watched them.
They're an 8 out of 10. Dawn might be a 10 out of 10 movie for me. The second one.
So the second,
That might be
So
a 10 out of 10 movie.
I didn't
for me.
appreciate the second one until I rewatched it again because I love the first one because it's telling you how it all happened. But I had my reservations with some things there.
Yeah.
But you get the Dawn, and it is like pretty clean. It is like there's nothing I can whine about with that movie.
Yeah. I think for me, it's scoring those movies. It goes probably at 8.5, 10, 9, 8.
That-
Like they're all just high caliber fucking films. Like
The second one had Woody Harrelson in it, or was that the third one?
That's
that was the third one.
Third
Second
one,
one had
okay.
Gary Oldman in it.
Okay.
So I have to watch the third one again
It's
because
great, too.
that's one I think I watched it twice and it was a long. And then we started watching over the weekend. Sarah and Sophie finished watching it. When did we go see the movie? Monday. So they finished watching it on Monday afternoon, and we're sitting there in the theater, and as they're like, for Caesar, and Sophie nudged me, was like, Caesar would not have wanted this. He would not want this. And
It's true.
I was just like, God, because I was concerned, like, she's just going to watch these movies, going to go over her head. She's not going to give a fuck. But she was invested. And when we're watching the one in the theater, she's like, yo, he wouldn't want this.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I love that.
I was like, you're right. He wouldn't.
And
But
Caesar is fucking a incredible character.
Yeah.
Like his whole arc journey, like the whole bit is amazing. Like I'm happy. I'm a happy fan. I'm a happy fan. And I like the originals.
The originals.
I like
Which one, Mark Wahlberg or
No,
oh,
no,
wait,
I
wait,
like
wait,
that
wait.
one too.
Oh, you
It's
talking
my
about way
least.
back?
It's my least favorite. The Mark Wahlberg one. Somebody just hit me up recently and said something funny. They said that Mark Wahlberg is to apes what Keanu Reeves is to Dracula.
That's fair. I can run with that.
I think it was the dude stinky farts or whatever, inhaled farts. But anyway, yeah, the old like the 70s.
Yeah, the one.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
yeah. We talked about that.
Yeah, and they lack the effects, sophistication, and all that kind of stuff of today. But they're still good stories. The second one is my least favorite one. There's like a cult underground, but like the first one's good, and then like I think it's Conquest might be my favorite.
Is that the fourth one?
Yeah, it's the third or the fourth one that I love, but they're all tied together. And then even the fifth one, when like they go to human civilization, it makes sense. And the only reason why they do it is because they lost money to like make the effects to live like in a different. So they like had to just be in Cleveland or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, but like they still made it work.
We have to pick a city that looks like trash. Yeah, Cleveland.
There's
Yeah,
like
let's
somebody
go.
they're like boom 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 boom.
Every time I drive through Cleveland, that's how I feel. Well, and that's the thing about movies like that though too. It's like for the horror podcast, for example, when I was going back watching shit from the 20s and 30s and shit like that, it's like you have to kind of put yourself in the mindset of what was going on then and what they had to work with. So when you watch the original Planet of the Apes, you can't look at it like, oh my god, these effects are so bad.
Right.
It's like you got to think about what was going on at the time and how the effects,
And those effects were amazing at the time.
at the time, that was great.
Yeah.
So all of this shit
It's just like
is good.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Those effects aren't up on par. They show that like that's like, oh, we didn't have it quite yet. But by Dawn, off to the races.
Like
up?
Dawn. I mean,
Dawn,
again, everything
I'm
was.
like, that's a real fucking monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't tell me any different.
mean,
that fucking monkey's living and breathing.
Peak filmmaking.
Yeah.
Fucking an ape on a horse with a machine gun. 2 machine guns.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we've peaked as a civilization, and I feel like after that, the world kind of went to shit anyway. So here we are.
But to make you care. Like I care about those characters. I care about Rocket and Caesar and fucking Maurice and like I know their names. Like I couldn't tell you any of the human names. But I know almost all those fucking ape names, like Koba.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, man, like I give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's
Like, what was
an
the-
investment in the personality though too, because you see, okay, Koba feels this way, and it's like, well, why does he feel this way? And you start thinking back to his stories, like
Yeah.
he was tested.
He was tortured.
Yeah,
by
so
humans.
He hates humans, and again, when you're getting invested in that, you're like, motherfuckers will be like, yo, you're too invested. Like, no, that's the story though, because you compare it to humans though.
Caesar love human more than ape.
I mean, even
But you need that though, because that's what a good storytelling is. You're supposed to feel some type of way. That what is it called? Empathy of it.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And so I can understand that.
Yeah, like
even in the newest one, where they're wearing the medallion, what I told Sir is like, I take it as kind of like, a religious undertone to a degree, because you got Caesar and they're like, for Caesar, we're doing this in the name of Caesar. And it's like, it's kind of how we look at like people who hide behind the Bible, but then they do, these horrible atrocities. And it's like, it's in the name of Jesus, it's in the name of God. And it's like,
and they're all using his words to their will.
It's like, well, we're going to just shape it to how we interpret it. It's like, I don't
great.
think that's how that goes, but that's how that movie played it. And, at the end of it, I was just like, dude,
and like,
give me another.
Caesar, you saw the original 3, the Rise, Dawn, and War, or no?
I don't remember them, but I've seen.
So he, when Caesar was living with the humans as a pet,
Okay.
he was in the attic, and the attic had this window, and the window like frame had this like star inside of a circle. And when he got locked up, like in the zoo, basically, he started like drawing that star on, and it like it became like his symbol from the window and I'm getting the chills. But then like later, like generations later, this one ape who like worships Caesar is like wearing a necklace with that star symbol like on the fucking necklace. It's like it's just so well thought out.
Then that was another thing with Sophie. She pointed that out too when she saw. It's like, oh, it's the window. He's wearing the window. I was like.
And it's not just a callback for the sake of a callback. Like it makes sense and it tells you something about the world they're in. I can't say enough good about it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Phil's out of his fucking ice cream cake. And then what else? Still no response from Drake or Kendrick. It seems like that's over now.
Good.
Which, see, I wanted one more. I wanted one more round. But I wanted a timestamp record from Drake. That's the thing I feel like I'm missing from this whole thing. I'm missing a 615 in Boston or you know what I mean? Like that one of those records. And then a Drake, like, finish him response,
Well, look here, Professor Skullface. Okay, I appreciate you breaking it down like you did.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I say you're Professor Skullface, okay?
Yeah.
That shit was tough. But, I mean, it just seemed like it came out of nowhere. Like, he said something, social media got a hold of it, and then it just seemed like everybody, like I saw it on Access Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, y'all going too far with this.
But I'm telling you, it's been like I've been vocal about it in music conversations, like behind closed doors. But like that shit between the three of them has been brewing for almost a decade.
Didn't Drake's security get shot, and they trying to bring that together with this whole beef?
Yeah, but I think it's related to the Weeknd's crew more so than.
What do he got to do with anything?
So I mean, Weeknd dissed Drake and the breakdown, and then Drake this Weeknd back and Weeknd's people were shot like a week before also. So I think it was a get back actually.
Weeknd the singer? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. That one that had the bad TV show on HBO? Yeah. Boy, you need to sit the fuck down wherever you at, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I think that's it. And we don't have much for notes either, but we do have some questions. Let me see what the one note is that I wanted to cover here. Give me 1 second. And
actually, I also got a thing. We were talking about how I had to upgrade my ADT system, right? And every time when I get somebody to come over to do something to the house and I got to bring them in the basement, it's like they like the toughest guys in the world. Like you were talking about your guy. He like doesn't like, he's a tough guy. So the guy comes in, he cool though. He's like, yeah, it was good. Dude, fix your stuff, blah, 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 blah. I said, that's what's up, man. Show me where the box at. So he goes to see, I bring him downstairs and he's like, yeah, man, it's a rough day today. Comes down and says, oh my God. This is what do you got? He's looking at my collection. He's like, what the fuck is it? And his voice came up now. He's like, yeah, my son. He's an artist. And I think he would like this. I said, oh yes. I tell you, my flashes. I got the smart lights. So I said, Google, do your thing. Everything comes on. He's just like with his camera, like, oh, that's tough. Hey, can I send it to my son? You already taking the fucking pictures. Bro.
Anytime somebody comes in and has to work on something, they're always like, can I take a picture? Can I take it? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then they're like, can you get out of it? I'm like, posting.
It's trippy when they do this shit, man.
I had a buddy at work recently that says something funny. Like, we were on an assignment and with other moppers from other places, and we got back in our mop vehicle to go back home, and he was like, dude, did you hear those guys? And I was like, what? He's like, did you hear them talking? And I was like, no. Like, is that Skullface? Is that Skull? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, speaking of Transformers, so Thailand authorities seize hundreds of pounds of drugs smuggled in Transformer statues. Police seized 700 pounds of ketamine hidden in life-size Transformer robots in Thailand. A woman who was previously caught trying to ship meth hidden in a food processing machine was trying to send the robots to Taiwan. 700 pounds of ketamine.
Damn.
You're gonna be disassociated.
Yeah,
100%. You're gonna be it's gonna be effective. It's gonna get the job done. I just thought Phil shared that one, and I thought it was pretty funny. There's a House of Dragons trailer for season 2. Have you seen it? Just hit yesterday.
I have not.
I haven't either. So we'll watch that. And I just want to make sure there's nothing else before we watch that, because I'm excited about that show coming back. Willie Nelson's releasing a cannabis cookbook. If you're interested, get your money, man. And I think that's it. Okay, so let's watch this trailer and then we'll get back.
That joint was. Look at you see his face. They showed that regular ass dragon. It was like, okay, yeah, he's tough. But she was like, what we gonna do? I was like, damn.
It's Super Dragon.
That's what the fuck it was.
That shit looks great.
Yeah.
That shit like that. Like I'm all in. Can't wait. Super excited about it. Can't be happier.
It's got my attention.
Yeah.
Like watching the show, I have to watch it. Like Sarah loves it. Mm-hmm. I can't watch it with Sarah though, because when Game of Thrones originally came on, she had already watched it. So I sat down and watched it. And she was like, I'll rewatch it. And I don't like watching shit with someone who seems like, no, okay, pay attention to this.
It's the worst.
Just let me.
And I'm guilty of it too, but like, it's the worst.
I've gotten better because I used to do it, and now I'm just like, you know what? Just let people watch what the fuck it is, and if they don't get it, call them stupid later. But if they get it, then rejoice.
I also I add on to my Nerd Week real quick. I watched a comedian, and I can't tell you his name. Let me call a guy, because like it was an interesting performance. Bill Burr produced it, and this guy like basically screams at you. He screams at you for about an hour. It's an it was interesting. It wasn't the most amazing by far, but let me just call. Hey, what's up, dude? Hey, real quick, you're live on Nerd Rage, so don't say anything to get yourself in any trouble.
All right.
What's the name of that comedian that we watched the other night? I wanted to plug it.
Oh, hold on. Let me look it up. My brain can't lock in that stuff.
Yeah, it was a weird last name, like Hotspole or some shit.
It was Brian. Oh man.
Let me see. I'll try to work on it too. Bill Burr produced comedian.
Brian Holtzman.
Brian Holtzman. Okay, cool. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Take it easy.
All right, see you.
Yeah, Brian Holtzman, and it was funny. It wasn't hysterical, but it was a performance, and it was interesting to watch. But he just, for instance, like he wears like a silk shirt, and it's tucked into a pair of like slacks, and it has a wild print on this silk shirt that he eventually says that he stole from his sister at some point during the show, and his pants are sitting up higher on his waist than people have worn their pants since like the 50s. But they're not like exaggerated. It's not like he's like, oh, I'm Steve Urkel, or you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just that he's wearing them high. And he's talking about something else entirely, right? He could be talking about this coffee cup. Fucking coffee cups, a fucking socket, a fucking cup. And he looked over to the audience, and he's like, I like my belt high, fuck you. And he goes back to like the coffee cup again. And it's like, he does that for like an hour. So it was impressive. It's on YouTube, I think. So it was impressive to watch, because it's just like, how does this dude perform at this intensity level for 50 minutes? And then it was probably on the laugh, like on the impressive scale, it was like a 9. On the laugh scale, it was probably like a 7. But the two of them combined averaged it out to like an 8-ish experience for me. But it was fun. It was a fun watch.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah. He's old. So and like he doesn't really get political, but he does do this one bit where he's talking about illegal immigrants, and he's like, they took our jobs. When's the last time one of you motherfuckers picked an avocado?
Oh, like that's cocaine talking right there. That's that super dragon shit. Yeah.
There was last week Tom Brady roast.
I've heard about this. I haven't watched it, but I heard
it was on
about
Netflix, right?
Yeah, like I guess they're doing live stuff now, and it was when it came on live. My buddy was texting me because he watched it live, like straight through. So I watched it in pieces last week, and like Sarah's watching, it's like I don't get the point of a roast, and it's like, I mean, look, growing up with us, that's pretty much what we just did as kids. We just sat around.
That's what I do now.
Yeah, for free.
That's what I do now.
You're right.
It's just like that was life. So, but the players who got up there, I mean, they're athletes, so half their brain cells are mostly gone anyway. So Julian Edelman, one of Tom Brady's receivers, he was good. Like you didn't see him looking at the teleprompter hardly at all.
Okay.
But apparently he was like working the material at clubs.
Oh, really?
So he was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the best.
Good for him.
Nikki Glazer, I thought she was great. I don't.
What's her last name?
Glazer.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
glazed.
nuts.
By the sounds of her comedy, she gets glazed.
Oh my!
Like
Atta
I don't
girl.
particularly care for her comedy, but at the roast, she was fucking killing it.
Nice.
But then Tony Hinchcliffe got up there and just like you forget about her because he went straight through without almost not even taking a breath, just cracking everyone. Just went through everyone, and I was like, "Damn!" It was 3 hours long, so it was like a little excessive, but it was fun. It's not some shit that I would ever say, "Dude, you got to see that Tom Brady roast." But when he got up at the end, he was actually pretty good.
Nice.
Like he was like, again, not really looking at the teleprompter. Just
for him.
went into it, and there's
It's been received well.
yeah. Well, there's like memes in the jiu-jitsu community specifically because his wife started dating her jiu-jitsu coach.
Oh, okay.
And it was basically, Tom Brady basically having a roast so everybody can call his wife a whore. That's 200 IQ level. And apparently she's upset about it because like the funny thing is when they say, someone's upset, it's like, well, I haven't heard her say she's upset. I want to hear her do an interview saying I'm pissed off.
Right.
But, they made a lot of cracks at that.
Before we get into questions, one other thing I've been doing on my Nerd Week is I've been I'm doing a Bobby Boogie Bop episode in June for July on native tongues. And just like I've been doing a lot of research on it because I kind of know the story, but like I just like the details. I like to have the details, and it is like the amount of music that it's really like a collective, produce. Like I forgot that some of these motherfuckers were even like affiliated with them, but it's like in my mind, Native Tongues is Jungle Brothers, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, and Black Sheep, right? But then like Queen Latifah's part of it, and Moni Love was part of it, and Leaders of the New School was part of it, specifically Busta Rhymes and Charlie Brown, and then as Beat Nuts were part of it, Common was a part of it, like. Excuse me, like it just went on, like the amount of people. Mos Def was like affiliated with it at some point, like and it's just like going through it. And all, I was like, God damn, like I forgot just the impact of a bunch of people that made music about kind of being nerds. Was how effective it was. Like I don't think you have. Thinking about it, like there's certain easy ones, right? Like there's no Kanye without Native Tongues. Like they laid that blueprint for him to be a geek, but there's no Pharrell without Native Tongues, like anybody that wasn't like, that was willing to not fit the uniform of hip hop and what it was, that all comes from that group saying like, no, you can be weird. It's fine. Just wear this shirt with flowers on. Here, here's this shit, So anyway, that's been fun to rabbit hole to go. And when I do it, I always go back and re-listen to a lot of the records. Some of them I haven't heard in forever, and you know what I mean. It's always a good time.
That's what's up.
I actually keep kicking around idea. I've probably mentioned it before in the past. I do want to try to have you on Off the Mats because Off the Mats is a fucking jiu-jitsu podcast. I talk about what the fuck I want because it's my fucking podcast. Fuck y'all.
Well, have you ever had a black belt in Taekwondo on the podcast? Because I could, check that box for you.
I would appreciate that.
Right. I'll bring my certification just rub it in.
That'll be the episode cover.
And I still have my belt.
Even better.
Nice.
But I wanted to do a music episode because I'm always like, it is weird because it's like when people say, "Oh, I love music, I like music," but then you talk to them, it's like, okay, you're in one pocket
of it, yeah.
And sometimes not even a pocket. You're like, like in that little pocket watch pocket,
the little change pocket.
Yeah. It's like, okay. And I'm not saying I'm any expert by any means on music, but I listen to a lot of music and I just love like hearing and like other people's like inside thoughts. Like whenever like I talk with you about music, it's not even like, it was like I talked to Steve, was like, well, I don't listen to Drake because I just don't like Drake, but it's like Drake's not necessarily your cup of tea, but it's like you still gotta put your finger on the pulse because it's like I gotta know.
And I listen to every Drake record. I listen to every Drake record because I just want to know what's going on. You know, and I do think, to me, like, music is like a tapestry. Like, I see it, and like, there's certain people that dance on the tapestry, and there's certain people that walk on the tapestry, and there's certain people that run their fingers across the tapestry and say, "Oh, that's a nice fabric," and then there's certain people that actually sew lines in it, and those are the people that I'm usually more interested in, even if I'm not fans. Are people that are actually adding to the tapestry, that take a thread and spin it inside the tapestry and add to music. And like, so like, I talk a lot about like the Bristol scene out of the UK, like in the early 90s, like Massive Attack and Tricky and Portishead and those folks, and like what they did to the tapestry of music. It's still like, was it Hozier brought up today? I feel like I've heard that name today. Hozier, no, it was last night. But like, there's no Hozier without Bristol, like the Bristol scene. There's no like a lot of stuff that Travis Scott does. There's none of that without, you know, this sort of electronic hip hop alternative DJ shit that came out of the UK in the early 90s. Anyway, but yeah, I'm down to do that. Maybe we'll do like if you did last time, bring Laura, the kids, order some pizza.
Well, so, and that's what I was like, all right, you know, there's that. I also need to get you later this year. I got an Exorcist redo because we're doing cursed films, and that was a cursed film.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
But we'll get to those things later.
All right, sounds good. All right, here we go. Questions. All right, this is from Astartes Pete. He says, "Hello, lovely boys. Hope you be good. My adventure in swimming continues. I'm now consistently sub 31 minutes for the mile with a PB of 29 and 25 seconds, nonstop, of course. I'm no Olympian, but that's the fastest I've been able to do, so I'm pretty proud of it. Oh, that makes noise for you, the Mike Phelps of the nerd world. I've also got a new pet hate out of it. Okay, let's hear it. I go swimming during an adults only session. There are trained lanes during this, and I've progressed onto the fastest lane now. Each lane has a time limit of how quick you need to be. The lanes are all signed with these timings, I might add, so they're easy to spot. There's almost always at least one person who is in the wrong lane and swimming too slowly. Not slightly, but we're talking a good 15 seconds or more too slow per length. There is room in the other lanes. They are disrupting my swim. They are disrupting the other people in this lane, and we're constantly having to stop or swim around them. Bonus points if they refuse to let faster swimmers pass as well. If the lack of common courtesy, which I talk about all the time, and if you politely ask them to move, you'd think you just barged into their house at Christmas and pissed on their kids. It's a small thing, but it drives me mad. What are your small pet peeves and small things that make you crazy? I mean, I feel like I have a lot, but like, I hate, the people leaving their fucking shopping carts in the middle of the fucking parking lot. Like it's, for me, it's courtesy also. It's about like, we live in a society, right? But it's like, there's a code, and if you just do your part in the code, the whole world will be better, right? So like, you take your fucking shopping cart and you fucking leave it in the parking lot for it to roll around, hit another car, or take up a parking spot for somebody that needs a parking spot, or for somebody that's making money to do it, but have to go out in the street and wheel all these fucking carts back. You use the fucking cart. It was found for you at a fucking convenient spot. Go fucking return it. Don't be fucking lazy. That's my thing. Like, you drop a piece of paper, pick it up. You fucking, like, just be a good person. It's like, it's not hard to do the right thing, right?
There's enough of those parking stations for the carts in the parking lot now where that should never be an issue.
Yep.
Like, there's so I went to the movies, right, to see Apes, and I thought the tickets were exceptionally expensive, but I was like, inflation and Joe Biden, what are you gonna do, right? But like, anyway, it turns out I bought a VIP ticket. I could have had like free popcorn and drinks, and I just didn't know it, so I just didn't utilize it. So, and I was actually hungry as fuck, so I was a little irritated about it. But anyway, when I went in, there was no one there. It was like the honor system. It was like shopping at Michael's. There was no one working there. So I walked in and just walked into the theater. Didn't pass a single employee. Not at the concession stand, not at the front door. Just walked in the theater, made a right, made a left, and walked into the fucking movie, and without seeing a single employee. And I had this one thought pass my mind, because it was, I think it was $20 some a ticket. I didn't even need to buy a ticket. And as soon as it left my mind, my other thought kicked in. It's like, but that would be fucking stealing. Mm-hmm. And you want to watch the movie, you pay to watch the fucking movie, right? Like, so it's just shit like that. It's like just common courtesy shit. It just drives me fucking insane. Fucking neighbor, fucking dog off the leash all the fucking time. Like, and his dog is well trained, but like it's well trained until it's not. You know what I mean? Like that. Like it's a fucking animal, dude. And why don't the rules apply to you? What makes you so fucking special that the rules don't apply to you? I got a dog. I would love my dog to be off leash, but that's the fucking rules. It's for my safety. It's for your safety. It's for the dog's safety. I'll kick the shit out that box.
There you go.
Anyway, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So here's ungratefulness is another pet peeve of mine, specifically with my kids. I was having fun. I was having a good day, and it's summer. We have ants. We lay traps. We spray. We do everything we can, and we try to sort things. This happens every year, right? So these ants are walking on the fucking floor, you know, and it's not like it's not like somebody dropped a popsicle. It's like 5 or 6 ants. You know what I mean? And my one kid goes, ants. And then my other kid goes, there's a lot of them. And they just sit there. So I was like, I got it. And I went and fucking cleaned it. But it's like, it's that shit. Like you're happy to comment on it. You're happy to fucking look at it, but you don't want to fucking do anything about it. It's like people that say, write wash me on a car. If you got time to write wash me on a car, you got time to wash my fucking car. Fuck you. It's mine. Keep your fucking hands off of it. I don't touch your shit.
There you go.
You know? Anyway.
Tell them why you mad, son. Tell them why you mad, son.
Cinnamon keeps the ants at bay.
Cinnamon?
Yeah.
No kidding.
A few weeks back, we're recording downstairs, and then the next day I come down, there's ants everywhere. We don't know where they're coming from. So Sarah went around the edges and sprinkled cinnamon. Gone.
No shit.
My mother-in-law said the same thing.
I'll do that today.
Yeah.
We
that and black pepper.
So peppers. So
Hey, black pepper.
The red pepper flakes. Go to the dollar store, get a thing of when at my
Hate
previous
black keys on the piano.
I hate the back of Forrest Whitaker's neck.
at my last job in storage, when we would clean up after people would move out, I remember going to a unit and there's pepper chips all over the place. One thing I didn't see in there though, rodent droppings, dead bugs, nothing, just the pepper flakes. And then, you know, I was talking to my manager, I was like, yeah, apparently that keeps away pests. I was like, okay, noted. But we did do the cinnamon, then we got the exterminator to come out just to, you know,
seal the deal.
Yeah.
I had a there was one time at Jana when she was a kid. I've told this story 100 times, but we were at Chick-fil-A. I used to take her to Chick-fil-A all the time because she would eat just like she was a picky eater. And on Daddy-Daughter Day before my other kids, when it wasn't too expensive to take them all out to fucking eat, we would go get Chick-fil-A for lunch. And one day we were leaving Chick-fil-A and there was a piece of trash on the floor and she kicked it. Bad move. Bad news. Put me in a bad mood. How many loved ones do you have to lose? I was like, what is that? And she's like, there's a piece of paper. I was, pick it up. And I was like, now you throw it away. Now we're going around, we're picking it all up. And I took her around the restaurant. We picked up all the trash. We went to the tables and like, hey, ma'am, are you done? And she, yeah, like, get it. And she took people's trash from the table and you know what I mean? And I was like, you're going to fucking clean every piece of trash in this because you were too fucking good. Like, I would have been okay if she stepped over it. It's not her mess. There are people that are there to do that job. But no, you couldn't step over it. You had to kick it. Well, if you can kick it, you can pick it up.
Yeah. My captain would have loved you in the academy because he was real big on that trash shit. He's like, I hate when people, exactly what you said.
Yeah.
He hated that. And if he caught us not picking up trash, he's like, oh, y'all getting smoked today. He relayed a message. Hey, look.
It's just common courtesy, man.
Yeah.
It's just doing the right thing. You know, it's not fucking hard. You know, like I'm a spiky. If every person was a ball, mine's an edgy, spiky ball, right? Like I'm often looking for a problem. I've gotten better, but like I'm looking to make an example out of you. It's just in my nature. But and that being said, everything that I do is with the intention of doing the right thing, trying to do the right thing, and trying not to get in the way of anybody else. I don't want to make anybody's day worse, you know, but there's people out there that don't care. They don't give a fuck about your day. They don't give a fuck about you because the quality of your life means nothing to them, you know, and that's the shit that drives me fucking nuts. End of rant. Draven? We'll go with it. You know I'm not good with names. You know what else pisses me off? People that can't pronounce my name right. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, my fellow Ragers. Oh, Jana, by the way, I went to her Nerd Week thing. I went to her. She was awarded at her school for having a 4.0 grade point average in all 8 classes. Congratulations to her. Hope this finds you well. Wanted to get your opinion on Bat in the Sun, more specifically how they handled the release of their film Legend of the White Dragon. I like the sound of it, Dante. If you need a little backstory, I do, so thank you. Allow me. JDF, which I know you're all familiar with, and personal opinions aside, filmed with Bat in the Sun and completed the film before his unfortunate passing. Who is JD?
Jason David Frank, Green Ranger.
Oh, okay. I'm not as familiar, but thank you. After his passing, Aaron, the owner of Bat in the Sun, gave a release date. Cool deal. We got a date to see the film. But since then, he postponed the release time after time again, citing resorts and visual effects issues were the cause. All while pushing merch out the ass. Figures, clothing, posters, anything and everything they can print JDF's likeness to make $1, which in the beginning I was personally okay with since a portion went to his family. But as time has gone on, people started questioning, including myself, about if the movie would ever release, feeling at this point, Bat in the Sun is using his likeness as a cash cow to squeeze every dollar out of the consumer. At this point in time, I firmly believe Rock the Dwayne Johnson's best film, Savage Dragon, will release before JDF's final film. Your thoughts, good sirs, and as always, carry on rages. Savage Dragon? Is that a thing?
No, I think that was an old joke.
Oh, okay. Oh, from here. Oh, yeah.
Because like when he said it took me a second. It was like, wait, is that a? Oh, wait a minute. I remember. I gets in now.
Dude, that's a funny joke. We should bring that back. God, the Savage Dragon, dude. How did we fall for that one? And it's still ongoing.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like because it's The Rock, he'll do anything. He'll like you put a script in front of him, he's going.
Well, no, I mean the book is still ongoing.
Oh,
like,
the book.
Yeah, Larson's Savage Dragon, I think, is still a thing. I think.
All right.
Have you ever seen that dude draw? He draws like he's mentally ridiculous. It's like
everybody has their thing. All right. Look, he got the job done. They ain't got to be pretty.
Yeah, he's got that cerebral palsy. All right, enough about me. So anyway, I don't really know enough about this. Do you know anything about this?
I saw a post, but I didn't really I'm just vaguely aware.
Yeah, I don't know shit about Power Rangers. I'm learning. I know it's been going on forever.
Yes.
It was big in Japan, I think, before here. Much like my band. And I know that guy passed, and I kind of only peripherally know that. But I mean, it sounds. I would imagine it's going to come, so to speak, because it's only going to lead to more money. But they may be milking it for all it's worth. It's hard to say. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah. All I know is Valaverse actually picked up the licensing to make the figures for it. So, that was his big thing. I've seen the figure. I haven't seen nobody do like a actual, YouTube or breakdown of it because I'm never going to buy them. But yeah, I mean, Jason David Frank, you knew there was always going to be Tommy for life. And he's like the only guy who's been a Power Ranger and damn near like he's got the power like 5 or 6 seasons. He's been the Green Ranger, the White Ranger. He was a Black Dino Ranger. He took somebody's Ranger power.
Army Ranger.
Yeah, he's the Ranger of all Rangers. I mean, it's like if you mention Power Rangers, that's the one everybody knows. I mean, the Pink Ranger, because it was during that formative years.
Amy Joe.
Was he like a Pacific Islander type vibe?
Who? Jason Davis?
Yeah. Or was just a white guy?
He just white.
He's a
Guy.
white
Oh,
guy,
okay.
but
Who am I thinking of?
he has a little bit of a little color to him. He might be somewhere down the line.
Yeah. Unless you thinking about that.
He's
one-
like that Virgil brand Off-White.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
there's something additional there.
I don't know. I don't know shit about Power Rangers. My wife used to say "Saber-tooth tiger" all the time when she's like when we were like, but that's all I really know about that shit. I thought that shit was corny as hell. But I know people love it. I don't mean to shit on it, but it just never spoke to me. I think it was all that. It was all the karate. That just wasn't. It felt like Saved by the Bell to me. I think it hit. I was getting a little older. I think it just hit me at the wrong
Yeah,
time.
that was like someone that I used to work with. They would always talk to me about Power Rangers, and I remember having a conversation like, "Look, the thing with Power Rangers is it hit right as I left."
Yeah, it was like really hard to listen to the Downward Spiral and watch that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I hope it all sorts out for those involved. It sounds really frustrating for the fans, and that sucks. Paul C wrote in twice. He said, "Is it just me, or have there not been any real bust a gut funny comedies made lately? If I'm not misremembering, why do you think that is? What caused the shift? My thought is that outliers like Hangover, Dodgeball, Superbad aside, most of the real big comedies were never super successful in theaters. They relied on DVD sales and cult following and college dorms, etc. to recoup. The popularity of streaming services then killed DVD sales. What was the last super funny comedy movie you remember watching? What do you think we don't see as many of them? Why do you think we don't see them anymore? Is it just because things are inherently less funny when streamed at home?" So I think he's right about the DVD sales. I think the comedies relied a ton on DVD sales. But I have another thing to offer. It's the same, but I think we'll see it come back. In the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see it come back. Comedy almost fucking died. Comedy itself almost just fucking died. There was a few people that came out and said, "Fuck you. Fuck you. We're going to keep it funny." And that's fucking Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, Jim Jeffries. There's a handful. Louis C.K., there's a handful of them, and you can almost count them on one hand. But they almost shut down comedy because motherfuckers thought that the comedians had to cater to their feelings. And I think that a lot of those movies are super, if you view that shit through that lens, a lot of those movies are super offensive movies,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
But, fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, also, why are you going to that movie if you're easily offended? Like, if you're going to watch Superbad, knowing that this is a raunchy comedy and it's teenagers, talk about teenager shit.
Yeah.
Why are you going there?
What was that last movie that that was with that kind of crew of guys? That was the end of the world.
Oh, this is the end.
This is the end.
Yeah.
That was one of the last.
Yeah.
It's actually ironic looking back at it, right? This is the end.
That was the end. Yeah.
Because I remember Sarah saw that when she was working for the family up in New York, and she called me right away after the news, like, "Oh my God, you got to see this movie. This fucking movie is so funny."
Yeah.
And then when she got back down here, we went to see it, and I was like,
I think people are Hollywood. The tone and perception of Hollywood is that the world doesn't want those types of films because they're offensive. And I honestly think that. And the truth is they offend a very small group of people. Eastbound and Down. I don't think Eastbound and Down gets made today.
"Fuck no."
Okay. Eastbound and Down.
You ever seen it?
No.
So the whole tight dick player from this show at the end comes from Eastbound and Down.
Okay.
So it's Bike Week in Myrtle Beach. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I've heard of it. Yeah. I've heard of it.
So there's this one scene. It's great, and the camera's kind of following this one biker in Bike Week in Myrtle Beach. And he's exactly what you would expect. Stereotype fulfilled. And he goes into this urinal at his bathroom, this public restaurant. He's looking tough, looks like a biker, and a mountain of a dude, right? And there's this little white dude in the urinal next to him. And the big black dude just leans over and looks down at his urinal and looks back up at him in the eye and goes, "Tight dick, player." And
Oh,
You
no.
know, but just like the way that fucking Kenny Powers is all about this like failed baseball player who has to like go back to his hometown. But he like goes back. He's like, you know, what does he say? Like shut your mouth and open your ears, you dumb beautiful bitch. Like the way he talks.
I'm
to
gonna hit you with some.
I'm gonna hit you with some truth.
Yeah, you beautiful bitch.
You beautiful bitch. You know? But it's like that. I don't think that shit gets made today. I don't like I don't know why some of the goofier ones like Step Brothers, like that pocket. I don't know where that went. But you know, I don't even know if fucking Anchorman gets made today.
Like the Judd Apatow run of films, I think were all great. But the problem with them that, you know, like you said, Hollywood thinks, okay, people are going to have a problem with this. And it's like, well, test it.
Yeah.
Put it out there. And you know,
And then I think the back end of that is making the movie the money to make it worth it. But
You're asking people to take a loss. You're asking Hollywood to take a loss, and also
2 losses.
Yep,
A financial loss and possibly a Twitter loss.
yep. And then you got to remember they just coming off that writer strike, so maybe there's not enough
Oh yeah, maybe.
comedian writers. You know,
well, I think also too, it's the movie theater experience too. Like now, granted, you know, like, you know, we can go back to Adam Sandler movies. They never did well in the theater. You know, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Little Nicky, all that shit, Big Daddy. None of it ever really did well in theaters, but it always made money. VHS, DVD sales, the aftermarket. And, you know, so it's like, okay, are you going to put these movies in the theater now? It's like,
Right.
well, you could put them in the theater. They're going to still do poorly by, you know, the standards of the past, but also shit costs more. So it's like, you're taking a bigger hit with doing that. And then, yeah, we don't have the DVD sales now because now it's all streaming.
Right.
And a lot of it is going straight to streaming. There's Prime picks up a lot of comedies, but it's a question of like, does it stand up to what we've had before? And so there was a movie that came out over the winter back in the fall called Bottoms. And I think it's kind of trying to make a run at like, you know, kind of a similar thing. And the thing is, and the thing about movies like this, because they did it also with American Pie. They did a female version. And this
Yeah.
movie Bottoms is also like these 3 girls in high school, and Marshawn Lynch is the PE teacher, and he's basically, they're doing a fight club. And
okay.
and it's like, I've watched the trailer multiple times. We almost watched it last night. It's like, I want to watch it, but I fear that they're showing me the best parts right here in the trailer, and the rest of the filler is just going to be, you know, nonsense. And I think that's what you run into as well. Trailers giving you all the goods, and then you know, you go see it, and then word of mouth spreads like, yo, just watch the trailer.
Yeah, there was another like comedy type of movie that I feel like is missing now that when you were talking, it made me think of, but I can't place it, but it does feel like it's missing. Oh, American Pie. Yeah, you mentioned it. Like that doesn't get made today.
No, absolutely. Well, there's so
Like-
many people, like so many different posts that I've seen that have like complained about, like, you know, all the things that are wrong by today's standards
Yeah.
with that movie. And it's like, well, you're right. And the thing is, though, again, don't go watch the movie.
And you know what? Yeah, but you know what they're wrong about? Thinking I give a shit.
Right.
It's like,
Yep.
like I still
But that goes
watch
back to
those.
what Bobby was saying. Bobby, like, said what you said. There's people out there that want to create chaos and stuff like that. So those people that you talking about, Dante, like, don't go watch it. They're going to watch it because they want to start shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like you ever see those YouTube videos of the people that know the law and they
Oh,
go
yeah.
at police officers like,
Yeah.
no, I can be here because
Yeah.
I'm on this property and your law states that and the police are like,
What
Yeah.
they need is an individual,
on, me today.
the officers by their side, an individual who doesn't care, who's willing to beat that person up. The officer won't get in trouble. Yes, that other person will probably face a lawsuit,
Yeah.
but that other person won't care, and everyone will be happy because I see those videos and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
let me at 'em.
Yeah, I think the majority of everybody. I mean, obviously, there's cops that have done terrible things, but like, I think the majority of people. I do believe in the goodness of people ultimately, and I think the majority of people, regardless of their job, they just want to go to work, do their job,
Yeah.
and go home.
That's it.
You know, like, and they would prefer not to get into any shit. You know, I think cops. I think there's other professions. Like I think like you ever had a back issue and gone to see a specialist. I feel like those people are looking for a reason to cut you open. Like they want to do their job. They're like, you're like, I've been having like a back pain. They're like, where'd you say? in the back. Oh, surgery. You need surgery. So cut him.
Yep.
Scalpel.
Yep.
It's like, well, give Motrin a chance, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me fucking live. Yeah. So I don't know. I wish it would come back though. Maybe we will see a return after the writer's strike, but it just doesn't. It just doesn't feel like. But I think comedy is coming back. Mm-hmm. Like Louis C.K. is coming back. Like these people that somebody just said it recently. Like the canceling is over. Like nobody's really getting. Who's the last person to get canceled? Cosby, or I feel like there's. Oh, they tried to. You know who they tried to cancel Kanye.
Yeah.
And they couldn't.
The thing is about canceling though is you have to care.
Yeah.
Like about being canceled. Because the second that you're like, oh my God, let me go to Twitter or X, whatever the fuck it is, and apologize, you've already lost that battle. The second that you do that, they know they got you, and now they're just gonna keep piling on. Whereas like, I remember we were recording an episode of Columpton. Not that that's a big show or anything, but I think 2 minutes into the show, I dropped the R-bomb. And Steve's younger brother, who's fairly young, goes, "Oh, canceled." And I was like, "See, that's your misconception there. I don't give a fuck." Number one. Number two, only 8 people listen, and those 8 people who are listening, they love that I say that word. And that's just the thing, though. It's like if you start looking over your shoulder and wonder like, oh my God, I can't say this. Now with Off the Mats, I do kind of toe a little bit because
it's a bigger show.
Yeah, it's a bigger show. Yeah. And it's a lot of different ears.
I'm cognizant over here. I've had to cut shit out of this. Like,
no, trust me, I know.
There's been some times where like it's certain, and especially because I'm just that way. Like, if it's 2 motherfuckers in here, I perform at a certain. But when it gets to be like 10 motherfuckers in here, like I'm trying to break the room.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break the room. Like, so I'm going to say the most outlandish, wildest shit that I can think of. And it's like Han Solo in episode, like I can think of an awful lot. But sometimes listening back to some of that shit, I'm like, okay, all right. That works in the room, but maybe not for general audiences. But another thing about all of that is context, right? Things being said in context. Like, there's the grocery store, right? There's like this dude. He gets the carts. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. And like, let's just say his name is Jimmy, right? It's not. Actually, let's not say Jimmy because of South Park. Let's say his name is
Extra.
Brian. Brian. So but I love Brian, right? And Brian's a good fucking dude. And like every time I see him, I'm like, Brian, and he's like, Bobby, and I walk him. He does like he's like into like some of the like the Special Olympics stuff. He'll show me pictures on his phone and stuff that he's working on and all. You know what I mean? And like here he is contributing to fucking society, not being fucking lazy, getting the fucking carts that you left in the fucking parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, and I would never, ever pose my lips to use any of those words in regard to him, ever. I'm using it to describe the motherfucker that left the cart that he's got to go get. He's the fucking mentally ridiculous.
Yes.
But once again, that's context. It's using the word to not in its worst way possible that someone would perceive it as. You know what I mean?
Well, that's Sarah and I talked about that yesterday. Just words being kind of taken out and just shifted however people want to use them now. And it's like, well, you've gotten so far away from what this meant. Like, I mean, again, mentally ridiculous, the original word for it, when you think about, in 2 different factors of it, in the diagnosis of how it was used. But then it's like, when you think about like clothing,
right.
Fire retardant,
right.
And it's like, it's to slow down.
Right.
And, but you can't even say that now. It's like, oh my God, fire what? Fire mentally ridiculous. And it's like, what the fuck are you, like, lady, back up off of me. So, we've gotten to this point now where we are recovering, where, comedians have made it where it's like, look, we're not going to let them take this away from you. And I think you're getting a lot of people now too who realize, this is a battle that, we've been trying to fight for no reason. Cause like, why are you fucking with people? If you turn around and say, hey, well, we want to cancel, this comedian because they don't like this. Well, like, can't we just have what we don't like? It's like if there's a trans person over here and you don't know they're trans, but then you find out, hey, I might
be in it if I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you turn around and, you're getting poked in the back and you're like, whoa, hold on. But you're wrong for like, cause that's not what you're into. But like, if you say, hey, I don't like tall chicks. It's okay not to like tall. I don't like brunettes. It's okay, but it's like, well, I don't like
you can't say I don't like fat chicks. You know what I mean? Like it's true. You can't.
No, I mean that is true.
Yeah,
and the thing is,
you say I don't like tall chicks. That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. You can't. Yeah.
But bros can turn around. I don't like short dudes. Like, man, fuck all of y'all. Yeah, I like me a tall chick.
I don't understand why fat is a bad word. I have this conversation with my wife, and we watch. Sorry if I'm offending people, but when we watch some of these shows, I'm like, yeah, she's fat, and my wife is like, you can't say that. And I'm like, why not? Describe how you would describe. How would you describe her?
Thicker than a Snicker.
No. See, there's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Thicker than a Snicker is like I'm appealed. I'm like, like how you look. You're fat. I'm like,
yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
I'm just saying, I don't see that as a bad thing. Like
I'm okay with it either way. I'm okay with it being a bad thing, but if that's the case, then we need to view skinny through that same lens.
Yeah.
Because skinny is not meant to be a positive adjective either. Mm-hmm. But we say it like, "Oh, you're looking so skinny. Mm-hmm. Look at you, you're so skinny." That way. But you know, but people, but like women say that, right? Like look at you, you look so skinny, you look great. But like skinny is supposed to be a negative adjective. It's supposed to be like you're skinny. Mm-hmm. You've got to. You're like, are you dieting? Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough carbohydrates? Like, are you okay? But like we don't keep that same energy, I suppose.
Because we're dumb.
Yeah. One last question. Completely understanding Bobby's thoughts on how to pronounce Make Toys. Why does Bondi always get the extra sauce? Okay, so I had said last week about Make Toys. I say make toys because I don't say like mozzarella. I say mozzarella.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But so here's the thing about Bondi. I don't know another way to say it. So I'm not saying like Bondi. I'm not.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Your face is even saying Bondi.
Couldn't help himself.
You put water in the cup, it becomes a cup. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't know. Is it Bondi? Like I don't know how else to read it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not trying necessarily to put extra sauce on it. It's just like it just lends itself that way. Like if Make Toys was spelled MAHKAY, I would say, oh, Make Toys. You know what I mean? I'd be like, that's what the name of this company is, Make Toys. Even if they're like, no, you pronounce it way different. I'd be like, well, that's how I read that is Make Toys, and I read it Make Toys. I read that Bondi. DAI.
I thought it was always Bondi.
Yeah, but I guess he's saying that maybe you would approach that word like Bondi. But I think if it was Banday, I would. Even if it was still pronounced in Japanese Bondi, I wouldn't go out of my way to, you know what I mean? Like, and then there's some of this Japanese shit these motherfuckers in the Transformer world they love putting the sauce on. I can't remember now off the top of my head, but they love it. Like some of that that extracurricular shit, like a Go Guy Guard, like all that God Bomber, God Genrai, all that they go nuts and want to, you know what I mean? They want to fucking, put the fucking shrimp in somebody's mouth while they're doing it, like I don't do that shit. Anyway, so that's all. Let me make sure that's all for questions, and I think it is. So shout out, of course, to Joe and Chris, who are both on assignment and couldn't be here today. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Great to see you, and I appreciate it. Next week, there's going to be a ton going on. If you want to be a part of it, and just stay in touch with me, you know what I mean? Like there'll be something probably Thursday night, Friday night, shit during the day, just shit going on. If you're interested, just let me know.
I was gonna say, yeah, Friday. Oh wait, Sophie's play is Friday. I was like, oh yeah, Friday night. Fuck.
Other than that, Shout out to Maryland Phil on Twitter and our notes. And shout out to Twitter. Phil's a funny dude, man. I hit Phil up about next week. I was just like, hey, there's gonna be shit going, because he had hit me back a couple months ago, like, hey, is there anything going on? Is there anything going on? So I was like, I don't know yet, but I'll let you know. Mm-hmm. So as we get closer now, okay, I know now. Mm-hmm. So I hit him up and I'm like, look, there's gonna be stuff going on Thursday night, stuff going on Friday night, you know. And he's like, oh, I can't make Thursday night. Can't make it. I can't make it. And I'm like, okay, it's it's okay. I'm just letting you know it's out there. Yeah, but I won't be there. Won't be there for that. I'm like, okay, all right, calm down. But shout out to Phil, he's great, and shout out to Dante's here, and Ricky Tiki Timber on the videos once in a while. He was consistent there for a while, and then you know what I mean. You just never know with that guy. And with that,
wobbly kneecaps,
wax buttholes,
tight dick player.